As your ship drops out of hyperspace, the star lines turn back into points of light, and there's all these like impacts of like little tiny meteors that are like hitting into your ship. Um, you've like exited into an asteroid field, and that's not an accident. You had planned to do this before you start to panic. And you can see like in the distance like one particularly huge asteroid. There's like a Clone Wars era gunship that like is tracking you and immediately starts to like blast a path for you to fly the rest of the way into or towards this huge asteroid. This is Skip One. It's one of like several pretty large asteroids in this field that have been like co-opted for centuries now as space stations, I guess you would call them, though they're not quite as grand as that. There's all manner of like shuttles and junkers and like freighters and stuff like moving around closer to this thing. And as you approach it, you can see it's got this big deep cut along the center of the asteroid, and it's like outfitted with this shield to function as a hangar bay. And there's about 30 or so different transports and stuff docked in there, and as you like fly, you've got like a guy with the whatever lights. He's like guiding you forward.
Yeah, I would imagine once we got within proximity, Kitra would just initiate the autopilot sequence, which would sync to the base's computers and would guide us in without us having to actually pilot the ship. So,
yeah, yep, you can do so, and the ship will like easily land inside, going like through the mag shield, and then finally landing. You're meant to meet Oomb here, Oabara Oomb, who you had previously done a job for a long time ago, a job that turned out to be a slave trading job that you weren't expecting. But he paid you on time, and everything seemed to go pretty well. And although you've made some other sort of enemies along the way, like your relationship with Oomb is still in pretty good shape. And as you like step off the ship, there's like this pretty strong stench on this facility of like sulfur, like sort of rotten egg smell. You can see that there's like some ooze like leaking from a crack in the wall as it like hits the ground, and like you can see like quickly like there's like a droid runs over with this like bucket and like places it in the correct place, but then it begins to like burn through the bucket. So what good that's doing, nobody knows. And you can continue kind of forwards. All of this huge hangar area leads to this like very very tight tunnel that leads into the actual facility, and so it's possible for 3 guards to guard the whole facility, because there's only like one way in. And as you kind of make your way there, there are 3 rough-looking Duros who are standing and looking forward as you approach. Don't think I've seen you on the run before, he says to the 2 of you. What are you doing here?
I just thought we'd drop in and see an old friend of ours.
Old friend.
Something like that. I'm guessing we would know that if is known here, that it's okay for us to use his name openly.
You would think that he's known, but like discretion is a really big part of smuggling, and so like whether or not you want to say we're here to meet this important gang boss is a different thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was like this distinctly a crime facility, or if it's just kind of a place.
It's definitely a smuggler facility in that it's like it's in the Smuggler's Run, which is like along like one of the main space routes, the Corellian sort of run, and so there's a lot of crime in this part, and particularly like this asteroid belt, like Skip One is notorious for just being a place that smugglers go. But even so, there's sort of like a code within smugglers of like, nobody really works here. Don't worry, I don't know anybody. Nobody says anyone's name.
Yeah, so I think Shell will just leave it at that then. I'm just like, yep, a friend. Been a couple months since we've seen him. Figured we'd catch up since we were in the area.
Ah, yeah. Mm-hmm. You got to pay the hangar fee, or?
Yeah. Go ahead, and Shell will look over to Kitra.
Like, there's
Yeah,
no, like, there's no hangar fee. This is just like straight up shakedown that they put. Like, these guys do not work for the facility. That's clear. They're obviously gang members, but you think this is just like pretty standard bullshit that you have to go through.
Yeah, Keitra pulls out her data pad and then basically just kind of transmits over to his data pad, and she looks at him and says, "You'll notice that all of our transport IDs and credentials are accurate and up to date. And of course, what she transfers looks nothing like Shell and Keitra, but there's a credit amount there."
Yeah, he does like the most cursory like look down and then look back up, and he sees like the correct amount of credits has been transferred, and then he just sort of nods, hands it back to you. Enjoy your stay, and then steps aside. And the people next to you, he like exactly the same line. Don't think I've seen you on the run before, as you like walk past, and like through this tunnel, and then it opens up into this huge cave that's been carved out, and it's like every possible surface of this cave has been like co-opted for someone to live in, and it's basically like this massive like slum town bazaar market thing, and like the stench of 100 different kinds of food and smoke and like all this stuff immediately like assails you, and the noise as well. There's like music playing. There's like of like clearly there's some sort of like club somewhere in the distance where you can hear, but also there's like weird like strange stringed instruments being played, and like all this like layered on top of each other. It's like an assault on your senses as you like enter into this place.
Yeah, Keitra, as they get past the guy who basically shook them down, she looks at her data pad, and she quickly glances at where their funds are currently at, and she quickly just like swipes that window off her data pad and looks over at Shell. We are definitely in the wrong business.
That or the right business. It's a little tough to tell sometimes.
Well,
sometimes it's up, sometimes it's like look around, down.
Well, we are definitely. I hope whatever has in store for us is good, because we are sitting in a very bad spot at this point, and no doubt he probably already knows.
Well, the last couple of jobs that we've had have been me getting kidnapped and poisoned, breaking into an acid rain art museum and pissing off a hut, and doing a job for that paid us. So I think that track record so far is looking pretty good for
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's get this over with.
Over with. This is like the good part. Shell will laugh and then continue on.
Kishel, you're sitting in a this like carpeted stall. There's like a bunch of people all around you, and like there's these various glass containers in weird sort of interesting blown shapes, with these tubes attached for various people to like smoke whatever liquid they want to smoke, and you're like sitting sort of in the back of one of these places, trying to find some quiet time, and there's like this insanely piercing like strange musical instruments that's being played, which I guess maybe some culture finds interesting or enjoyable, but you definitely don't. It's like a flute and then also a string, and like it doesn't really make any sense, and it's ear piercing, and there's like you're in this like one little booth, I guess, on your own, despite that you're sitting in like a 10-person booth, And it gets busy, so like no one has chosen to sit there, because you're exuding a sort of sense of like don't come near me. But there are other people sitting nearby, and they're like singing along with this song, which you think is tuneless. It's very hard to know. Maybe there are kinds of ears that appreciate this sound, but it's definitely not yours. And so you can see they've all like crowd around this small table, and you've got this big table to yourself. And one of them comes over, a weak way, and he like puts his knuckles onto the table and sort of like, "Hey, can we swap? We got a lot of us over here, and you got a lot of space."
Keitra just kind of looks like, what part of, and she just like motions to this little tiny hologram that says reserved. What part of reserved do you not understand?
Sorry, actually, I meant to. How am I supposed to say it? Kishal?
Keitra.
No, Lionel's dude.
Oh.
Kishal.
Yeah. They sound very similar. This is an issue.
Yeah, so he takes a moment, and then he looks up at him, and he's like, no, I got friends coming.
He like looks past you, and then like out to the street, and then back to you. I got friends here now.
Yeah, well, I have the kind of friends that your friends probably don't want to piss off, so good day.
You're being pretty inconsiderate here. There's a lot of us over there. There's only one of you here. Unless you got 15 friends coming, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
I think he shrugs and just pretends, feigning interest in this terrible music.
It's like Weequay doesn't really know what to do with this situation. He's used to be able to throw his weight around and expecting people to just get out of his way, and he's kind of confused. Look, listen, buddy, I don't want things to get ugly here. I just think, let's not. Why don't you get up? It's better for everybody if you get up and you go sit over there, and we'll come sit here.
I think Kishel looks over at the other table, kind of just weighing the others sitting there. He does the math. He doesn't like the answer, and he's like, "You caught me on a good day." And he gets up.
That's what I thought. It's always a good day when I ask. And he puts his hand on your shoulder, like sort of well-meaning, but also a little bit sort of smug about it. And he looks at his friends and like clicks his fingers, and they like stand up and sort of take the booth. And like they pick up their enormous like weird glass construction thing and like bring it over to the table and sit. And as you're like switching, you can see as you like look up in the sort of tightly packed streets, the faces that you've been like told to look for, or that you've been given to meet. You can see this like girl and this like almost blue-skinned what are they called? What's your alien, Jeff?
Oh, it's the Arcanian.
Arcanian, yes. Yeah. So you can see these two people that you've been told to look out for, basically, that you're supposed to meet here. You can see them walking by.
Yeah, I think he just looks back at the group that's basically driven him from his stable. And in the back of his mind, he's thinking, man, why do I have to be so dedicated to work? And he would approach the two of them. Doesn't say anything, just kind of walks up to them.
You got a problem there, buddy?
Nope. Just told to meet you two.
Oh, God. You're the one?
That me.
You're just kind of like elbows Shell a little bit, and she like leans over and shows the data pad and like, Yeah, maybe just kind of like waving her head, like maybe. Maybe we should go somewhere and talk.
Follow me. And he would lead them. Now, I'm assuming I have a point to meeting these two. And so
Yeah, I mean, I think
them.
like you'd have, like they would have maybe put out a message of like, we're looking for crew members to, you know, fill the role of
Okay. Good.
motherfucker who punches people when we need people punched or whatever it is, you know. And I think like because this is such a common meeting place for undesirables and smugglers and people, like this would be a natural place to meet.
Yeah, so I think he leads them to that smaller table. They might notice that he kind of looks at this larger table with these loud, boisterous, and he just gives this look, this cold look to the table before he sits down at the smaller one. Indicates for them to sit down.
Yeah, Shell will do so. He'll pull the chair back a little bit so he can like put his legs up on the table, but he'll like lean forward awkwardly anyways, despite doing that. So, you're the one who wants to join this wonderful ragtag crew of ours, huh?
Well, it so happens I'm between jobs right now and finding myself a little light on credits, and I'm on this rock. And you're probably the best prospects I have to getting out of here. So, yeah.
Shell will like raise his eyebrows as you say like best prospects, like before just continuing on.
Is that not the case?
We're up and coming, making some good progress. Likewise, we're between jobs, but we happen to have a very lucrative meeting lined up. I'm sure you'll find it to be suitable. So what do you have to offer? We're gonna have you on the crew.
I'm pretty good at picking stuff up and putting it back down. You know? Do you need guys that can do that? You know, kind of move obstacles out of the way without asking too many questions.
Yeah, when you say move obstacles out of the way, the light bulb kind of goes off in Shell's head of like, oh, that. And then I'll just kind of like nod a little bit and look over to Kitra. We have been a little light on people who can move stuff around lately. We could always use an extra pair of hands.
It's a cargo ship, right? Imagine you're picking, deliveries up and delivering them.
Yeah, moving stuff around, meeting people here.
Yeah, we're more interested in a particular set of skills. Your skills in particular seemed very interesting, and she just kind of like slides her data pad over and double clicks on a link, and it's just like a little hollow vid of you doing some work, if you will, like a quick clip, and then she quickly just like swipes it away, like we're interested in that.
As he sees that little bit of a video or that hollow, you see this smile come across his face. You know, like the smile of someone that sees a fond memory. Oftentimes it would be when you see a cute kitten or kids playing or something. And he's like, yeah, that's the stuff I'm good at.
Yeah, I have a bit of a big mouth, and I like to run it. And it gets us jobs, and it gets us into trouble. So I need a guy who gets us out of trouble.
Yeah. See, Shell, he's he's the kind of face that we want in front of job prospects, and you're the kind of face we want in front of people that we don't want around us.
He kind of looks at Shell, and he's like, "Well, as long as your credits are good, I don't see a problem with this." I mean,
As good
you
as
don't have
anyone
any-
else's, and I don't see anyone else offering you some. So
Yeah, there's probably like you probably see this little like this quick little tell on his face as you say that, because it's true. You know, he's been looking for a job for a while, so he's pretty desperate. So I think he reaches out his hand. I guess you got a crewmate. My name's Kishel.
Shell, I'll reach out and shake your hand.
And then he turns and looks at is it a young girl?
Yeah, she's in her late teens.
Yeah. And I want to apologize if this offends anybody. I will not do it again. But he kind of gives this leering smile at her. That's probably a little too uncomfortable. And he reaches his hand out to her. Kishel.
Looks at your hand, and instead of shaking, she just kind of like offers you like a fist bump.
Yeah, cool. He doesn't know what to do at first. And it's like one of these things where it's like, and you kind of like do. And he kind of looks back at his hand.
All right, I'll add you to the ship roster. And she just like goes back down into her face down into her data pad and just clicking away at keys.
So
Well, all right then.
How
Looks
big
like
of a
we've
crew you got?
Got it. Well, we run a slim operation. You know, make sure that it's only people we can trust, only the best.
Cuts down on overhead.
Cuts down on people talking. It's just us. There's two of us.
Thank you. I think he was starting to slowly figure that out, but he nods. He goes, "Well, now it's 3."
Well, seems like we've got a deal then. You can join us for the meeting. Find out what our next big job is. Last one paid pretty well. The fact that we're getting a second chance, also good news. It's a good time to join the crew. I'll say like half jokingly, but also like half genuinely. Like he believes that this is a good time to join the crew.
So you've been told to be on the lookout for a Trandoshan weaponsmith. It's what you're looking for. That's the place where Oomb is. And you've been like given like a little clearance code that you can like show to somebody, and they'll like scan it, and it'll tell them that you're meant to meet him. And so as the three of you kind of like move back into the tide of the bazaar and like move along with the people, you go past like stalls where they're like grilling weird reptiles. Some of them which smell weirdly good, some of them which smell really awful. And all sorts of like strange smells and sights and things like that as you like push your way through this market. Cassie, and you're like at a desk, and you're like looking at this like selection of pretty shitty, battered old guns. And this is maybe something that you would do frequently, is like find something for cheap and like do it up and sell it. And so there's a couple of like old battered blasters and pistols, and like there's like a pretty nice, although in bad shape, dueling pistol here. And like behind the counter, like watching you with that sort of way that only a reptile can, like unblinking and unmoving, is this like large Trandoshan. He's like looking at you as you look at the wares. And as you're like looking up and down, his tongue will like flick out and like lick his eye, and then he'll return to watching you.
I'll be like looking at the different ones. I'll be mentally calculating the pros and cons of each one, and just by sight, I'll notice that one of the trigger guards is snapped, probably meant for quick firing, but that means that the person was too heavy on the trigger. So that means that there's probably a good chance that the gas line into the focusing array is probably shot. So that one's out. That would probably cost too much. This one here, the individual firing it didn't just squeeze the trigger; they tried to jerk it to one side, and as such, probably has rattled the inside. So this one like kind of small light blaster pistol might actually do the trick. And then a couple of other holdout blasters. I could tell one it looks like it was a gangster who gave his shoddy old blaster pistol to his son, so he just crimped the barrel, but the way it's sitting, it wasn't even like they're trying not to show it, that it's a pretty good blaster pistol. So I mean, that one's practically a death trap. And the dueling pistol should probably be sitting on a mount as a conversation piece rather than an actual usable item. I'll look at the Trandoshan. You do realize that all of your goods here are terrible, right? I mean, this light blaster pistol here, if you give me 3 minutes with it, I could probably make it as good as, well, usable. Everything else here is junk.
You don't like?
I see. Common is probably not your first language. Yes, I am saying that your stuff belongs in the garbage. Perhaps floating around this place. I'll tell you what I'll do. Give me a few seconds or a few moments, possibly a few minutes, and I will probably have this one. And he kind of holds up the small light blaster pistol by the just kind of like by the edge of the trigger guard, so as to not make him think that he's going to use it. This one here, I can probably make it just right for you, but just give me a few minutes and maybe, I don't know, 75 credits. I can have this thing. You could turn around and sell this thing for at least 150 credits. I mean, what's the price tag on this one? 80? 50?
He like licks his eye again, and then with surprising speed, like grabs your wrist. No touch, no credit, no touch.
I'll tell you what I'll do. And I'm assuming he took the pistol out of.
Yeah, he's just like, if you imagine, like, it's clear this guy doesn't understand 80% of the words that you're saying, and so he like has been told that if anyone touches the stuff, he touches them. Is your impression? Like, this is not a salesperson. He clearly knows nothing about these guns. Like, you would have figured that very quickly. He's standing here because he looks scary more than anything else. And so he like will let go of your wrist. Like, he thinks that he's made it clear, like, you don't touch them unless you pay for them.
All right, fair enough. I think I understand the way you want to do business. You seem like a very powerful individual in economics, so I will try to make this as easy as possible. This one, and this one are garbage, but I will buy it from you. I will give you credits, right? You like the credits? I will give them for you I will buy all these for the Grochin, 25 credits. I will buy all of this garbage, and at least that's 25 credits you didn't have before. You see this? I give you the credits. You be like, oh yes, I will take the credits. Thank you. Put the credits in my hand. And we've got a job. Got a business.
He like one eye turns in this direction and like looks into the back of the shop, and he says something that's just like a series of like hisses and rumbles. And then another Trandoshan comes, and this one like looks, and he like taps him on the shoulders if he's tagging him out, and that one goes away. And this one, who looks identical to you, they all look the same really, looks up and says, 25, no good. He not so smart. Me. Brains.
Okay. Good. We can have a conversation. Look, your friend is very nice, and I'm sure he's very intimidating. He seems like he likes to bite faces. He's a face biter, and that's good. He bites faces, and that's good. That's good. That's very good to get a sale going, is to chomp on the face. Okay, now listen. All right. This one here, and I'm not going to touch it because your friend has made it very clear. By the way, does Trandoshan saliva get off clothing? Is it easy to do that? I don't know. Oh, good.
To burn.
Wonderful. Great.
How you say?
Great.
Burn skin.
That's fine. I'll get a good base. It'll clear right up. Okay. This one here, the barrel has been crushed, like you would do to someone who probably didn't pay you on time, right? Right? So this one is it no work at all. Like you are doing a disservice to, who is this? SoroSub. You're doing a disservice to SoroSub, even though they got crappy gear, by having this thing here. I will buy these for parts, for bits and pieces. I'll give you 50 credits for it. For most of these, except for this one. This one you can sell. If you let me fix it, you can actually sell it for a good profit.
He looks at the guns one by one. 300.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay. For all of them, you mean, or just the one? All. 300 credits? I don't know. All right, I'll tell you what.
And you fix this one and give back.
How about this? We'll make a trade. I will fix this one, but you see this DH-11 blaster pistol? This one here? I want this one for free. I fix this one for you. You sell it 150 credits. I take this one. The one with the bad everything. And slime. Is that slime? Why is there slime on this blaster pistol? What is this?
You don't like slime.
I'm not a big fan of slime. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of lots of organic materials that get all over you.
300. You fix 300. This. We give this.
I don't have 300 credits.
Then you no get gun.
Oh boy. Okay, you're driving a hard bargain.
Only bargain I understand.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. It's a simplicity, and that's good. Simplicity is good. Okay, how about this? I fix this one. I'll even fix this one, because this one I think I can fix too. I'll fix two. I take one. Mm-hmm.
He's thinking about it in that sort of very slow lizard brain way.
2 for 1. You get 2, I get 1. You win. Everybody wins.
This one you get better than these two. Brains.
Good point. You do have the brains. Yes, grunt.
100 credits. You fix 2, you get this.
75, we'll call it a deal.
He makes an expression of I don't like being fucked with, and shows row upon row of teeth.
But keep in mind, you're getting the expertise of a very highly qualified weapons technician for free. All it costs is something that you were probably going to get maybe 50 credits for in the end anyway.
It's at this stage that the others will arrive, and you can see this going on, this haggling, and he says, 85. You fix 2, we give 1. And he spits into his hand.
Wait, I have a better idea. This is my final offer, and you will take this. How about this? Don't give me this pistol. I will fix this pistol for free for you right now. If you like my work, then we'll take money off of this one. I'll take this one for 75, and I'll fix the other one as well. but I will show you my work before we make a bargain. Because for now, I'm just talking, and talk is great. Believe me, you're a wonderful conversationalist, but...
Talk. Cheap.
Exactly. If I show you my work and show you how good I do...
You fix.
Haha, now we're talking. All right, so I'll immediately pull out what looks to be a small, tiny little briefcase, almost like a lunchbox, like a skinny lunchbox. And in a very practiced maneuver, I will like kind of open it with one hand and kind of just like open the entire thing up. Now I'm about to touch it, then I remember, and I'm like, sorry, I can grab it? You're not going to do the tongue thing with the wrist thing and the...
You touch.
Okay. So I pick it up, and grabbing two tools, I kind of like spin them like a couple of toothpicks, and I just start like opening the whole thing up and cracking it open. I just begin to have a look at it, and sure enough, the gas line is plugged up from something that's wrong with the focusing emitter. And I'm kind of look and I go, all right, I see what the problem is. So I guess I will make a mechanics roll to fix this bad boy.
Yes, sir.
First roll of the night.
I imagine Shell is just like awkwardly like watching, like probably a little bit too close. It's like when you like see somebody on the street who's like busking and they play the same instrument as you like can't help but like stop and be like, oh, how good is this guy?
Yeah.
Like Shell's just seeing this negotiation happen and he's just like eagerly like seeing what's gonna happen.
Yep. I think this gun is pretty fucked, but I don't think like in a way that's difficult to fix. It's just like if you understand what you're doing, that's not so complicated. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be 3 purples to fix this.
Okay, so 3 of those, 1 of those, and 2 of those.
All right, you fixed the shit out of this gun.
And it takes no time at all. I see what the problem is. And I'm not going to ask where you got this from, but I assume that you got this from someone who, needless to say, used this for a bit more of intimidation factor because, and I kind of reach in with a pair of like padded tongs, like gently pulling out the focus lens. You see on there? Biological residue. Somebody decided to put the gun right against the head, and now, of course, that makes a gross mess. And as I'm cleaning up the focusing lens, but here's what the problem lies. After every shot, not many people know this, but after every shot, you see, there is a tiny bit of vacuum as the gas expelled interacts with the atmosphere and becomes the blaster. But a tiny bit gets sucked back in, and sometimes if you shoot too close to someone's noggin, pulls in biological matter, gets all over the focusing lens. If you don't clean it all the time, here we are. There you go. Then it does not work. Now it will work. And I think it works pretty damn good too.
He like holds it in these hands that are like way too big to hold this gun, and like looks at it, and then like fires just off in the side and like pierces through a droid that's like cleaning in the back of the shop, and he looks pretty pleased with that. I think it has like unusual kick for the amount of advantages you got, and like it's as fine or working as well as it possibly could be, and he seems pretty pleased with that. You fix.
I fix. I fix the other one. You give me that one. 75 credits. Huh?
Deal.
That's what I'm talking about. And then I'll just fix the other one, which I assume is like it'll be the same.
Yep. Same roll.
All right. Interesting.
Ooh. Very interesting. Okay, so you definitely fix it, but there's some sort of issue that arises. The other one has been fixed, like, and I think massively improved. I feel like this one is like he's maybe expecting a similar job, in terms of like the quality, because what you did with the other one was turn it from something that doesn't work into something that is like a paragon of the kind of gun that it is, and you did that in like approximately 15 seconds. And so he's expecting a similar sort of thing here. Maybe this takes quite a bit longer. There's a lot more shit that you have to get through, and a lot more sort of stuff that you have to do. And he like starts to get impatient and like is less and less impressed. And so he's like starts to drum his claws against the table, and then like you can see like is like leaving marks in the table.
Yeah.
And
I think finally after I put the thing together, okay, this one, the gas canister for inside the weapon, there's not many shots left into it, so you might need a new gas canister, but you don't have to tell the customer that, you see. So, yeah, that's right. So there you go. Sell it to someone you don't like, but it works.
You brain, me brain.
Two brains. 1.5 brains. But yeah, we got this. So what do you say? 75?
75.
75. And yeah, I will buy the light blaster pistol for 75 credits.
Yep. He seems pretty pleased with the work that you've done. He like sort of like lays them nicely to one side, while the other guns continue to look like absolute garbage. And yeah, you're all kind of standing in the same place.
After the transaction is finished, and the Trandoshan walks away, presumably, or at least turns away, Shell will walk up next to Cassian and just kind of like look down at the newly purchased blaster. That's quite the display you just put it on there. Dinner and a show.
I do what I can. I prefer to fix things. It's so much cleaner than having to deal with biological organisms. Trandoshans are an interesting race, but they are very slimy and messy and angry. I know that he could easily have crushed me within his big, meaty paws.
Keetra's looking at her data.
There you go.
I was going to say, Keetra's looking at her data pad. She's actually reviewing Cassian's digital profile. And she just looks up at him and says, well, if you're half as good as you are with fixing ships as you are with pistols, well, I'd say you're hired.
For what? What? Hired?
Yes. What? She pulls it up on her data pad. She doesn't. You answered our ad.
Oh! I'm not going to lie. I completely forgot about that.
Shell will like look over with a surprise as well. Like he didn't even realize that this was like the other person that they were supposed to meet.
I totally forgot. Yeah, no, okay, sure. So you need a mechanic and a gun plumber.
Pretty much.
Excellent, because I can do both of those things.
2 for 1.
What kind of ship do you have?
Keitra will pull it up on her data pad, and just like a little hologram of the ship just whoosh, comes up, and it has the whole schematic and everything.
Yes, my old friend. Not a problem. Luckily for you, I can fix this. I can fix it very, very well. What kind of a job is it going to be again? Is it a good job? Is it a big job? Is it a high-paying job? Is it a job that's going to take us out of here?
Yes.
All of the above.
I like your efficiency. That's good. It's preferable to people who speak way too much. Trandoshans are actually pretty good that way.
Speaking of efficiency, we're actually just on the way to meet with them now.
Excellent. I assume this is, I will probably not speak so much because you two obviously have a rapport with this individual. My name is Cassian, by the way. Cassian Vex. You may call me Cass. Again, for efficiency. Let us go then. I have some spare parts to deal with later. Let us go. Come. Where are we going?
This is actually the place that we were supposed to go, right?
Yeah. Yep. So you're meant to literally come to this Trandoshan and
Yeah.
show him like the code.
Yeah. So Shell will like take Cass like at the shoulder and kind of like lead him out towards the door, like to do this like big grand display before he'll just like turn around and be like, "We're here. Talk about efficiency, huh? We run a tight ship around here."
I see. I like it.
And then he'll walk up to one of the Trandoshans and like motion for Kitra to show them the whatever thing that we were supposed to show them to signal that we're here.
Yeah, so she'll just pull out the little data file and
Yeah, he like looks and then checks it against his own and then nods and then over his shoulder says something in Trandoshan. Again, just like a series of clicks and hisses. And then like points and you like walk through behind the stall and into this building and at the back of which you can see like a door. The other Trandoshan is like doing the classic sort of guard lean where he's like leaning with his arms folded and then like sees you and then nods. He checks again to make sure that you have the correct thing and then like opens the door and starts to walk up a flight of stairs, at which point there's another door. He like enters a key card which opens then another flight of stairs, another door, bleep, another flight of stairs, another door, bleep, and then finally you get to the top of this building which is really very shanty sort of. If you imagine it's like you like walked through, you know, the second story was like another shop, and then it was like someone's house, and then it was like, you know, an apartment where they were keeping pets, and then finally at the top you've like come to Oomb's place. It's very different up here as opposed to downstairs. It's like much cleaner. There's a lot more like white as opposed to dirty beige. And you're like led through onto this balcony, and like the balcony itself, you can see there's a sort of like little shimmering shield that protects the balcony, so that if anyone was to throw anything, it wouldn't actually connect. And is like sitting. There's like all this fruit, like fresh, tasty looking fruit in front of him, and he's like reading sort of, I guess, like the newspaper on his data pad. And then he like looks up. Ah, my friends, come and sit.
It's been far too long.
I agree. A long time. How have you been? There are different of you.
We've made some tweaks to the roster. Couple people weren't making the cut. Figured we'd beef them up a little bit.
He like looks at the other two, shrugs. Well, hopefully you're still as effective as you were. It's come to my attention that there's a very valuable cargo about to make transit from a place where it is reachable to a place where it will never be seen again. And I would very much like to have this thing. And I would like you to acquire it for me.
Acquiring is what we do. Sure, as you've seen last time.
There was a recent battle above Mabon Gaza. And it blasted open a cavern. And there was a cache of tech found from the Clone Wars. It's mostly been taken, but I discovered sort of too late that this had happened. But there's a particular item, a droid, that I know is being kept in an Imperial holding facility on Mabon Gaza. I want you to free this droid and bring it back to me. And for this task, I'll pay you 5,000 credits each upon delivery of the droid.
Imperial holding facility. That's a tough one to crack. But 5,000 credits a person. Shell will kind of like look back to the others, especially at Cass after mentioning without any prior knowledge that it was high paying, kind of confirming for himself just as much. They're like, yeah, see.
Cass is trying to be cool about this, but it's like one of those, like, you hear a funny joke, but you're trying to stay serious. You're like, he's like nodding, trying to be cool about it, but he's not cool about it because five G's is a lot of credits.
I'm assuming that you have a little bit more info than that, where this facility is, what this droid looks like, so on.
The droid itself is perhaps unique. Created by the Nemodian Trade Federation at the tail end of the Clone Wars. I won't bore you with the history, but the Separatists put a lot of effort into creating droids that could compete with the sort of decisions and the processes involved in making complex decisions the way that clone soldiers could. And this droid is an advanced prototype. Apparently.
Apparently. Well, if it's just a droid and just a facility, obviously, I think that we can more than handle ourselves with that.
I have a question, if that's all right with you.
Of course.
Of course, thank you. This Imperial holding facility, is it very high security, or would you say that it's medium to low security? Is it stormtroopers, or is it simply Imperial Army soldiers?
It's a detention center on a backwater planet, and so I think most likely mid to low, though I can't be sure. I know that this droid is valuable, and it's possible that the Imperials would have sent people to guard it, capable people. There will be a shuttle coming to pick it up to bring it to who knows where, and if it leaves Mabon Gaza, the chances of finding it become nearly zero.
Is this droid armed or simply a command droid?
I'm not sure. Definitely made for war. Although what aspect of war is unclear.
Maybe we can find out when we get there.
Indeed. Thank you for placing your faith into us. We'll not let you down.
I hope not.
One more question from me. Any fun surprises you got in store for us this time, or are we on a straight track?
He smiles. I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course. I don't know what I'm talking about either. Just sometimes words just come out and I don't know why.
You'll want to get that looked at.
That among plenty of other things.
I would urge haste.
I'm sure you'll send us the mission details.
Yes, I will. And he quickly types something onto his data pad and then flicks it in the direction of yours, and you'll see this basically set of details will come up about Mabon Gaza, the planet that it is. It's a mostly desert planet, and that there's not much there. But apparently there was a droid factory here, or some sort of research facility here during the Clone Wars, but it's all been bombed to shit, and the recent explosion of a ship crashing into the side of a mountain revealed this inside of a facility where they found a bunch of stuff and took it away. And he, it's got coordinates to how to get to the facility and that sort of thing.
Yeah, she just quickly looks at Shell. We're good here.
Perfect. Then, unless there's any other business that we have to attend to while you have us here, I suppose we'll get on to that haste you were so keen on mentioning.
Very good. If you'd like to have a drink, you're more than welcome, but I would, as I say, if that shuttle gets there, the droid is gone.
Like she'll like kind of like subconsciously like grab at his throat, where he's probably coughed up some of the poison and like messed himself up. He'll just kind of shake his head. Nah, dulls the senses before a mission. You know, I think we'll keep a clean head for now. In celebration, perhaps afterwards.
I'd like that.
We'll just kind of give a gaudy gesture and look to the others to see if they have anything to add before they turn around. We'll be on our way then.
Very good. Best of luck.
So
I imagine we'll go through the laborious process of going back through all the doors and tunnels and chambers.
Yeah, the Trandoshan will like bring you down through, and like as you like walk through the apartment, you hear a woman and she's like blah, 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 shouting as you like walk through her house, and then back all the way down to the bottom, out to the Trandoshan at the stall, who's like looking sort of like at one of the guns that's been fixed, and then like when he sees you coming, like puts it back down as if like he's not interested.
Is it now? I don't know if I'd be able to recognize if it's the smart Trandoshan or the brawny Trandoshan.
I don't think you
but if
know.
it's the, yeah, I'll just look at the one like looking at the gun and go, brains, you and me.
Yeah.
Even if I got the wrong one, I don't think it would matter.
Yeah, the brawny one thinks he's smart for sure. So he does a tap on his skull with a clawed finger. All right, so it's up to you what you want to do. You're in a huge market, so if you want to buy anything, this is like a really good place to do that. But I also think this will be like a place you'll come back to pretty regularly. So if you want to like buy ammo or something that you think you might need along the way, then you can do that here. Otherwise, it's up to you what you want to do.
Yeah, I literally just spent all my last of my money. That's why I was really talking them down to 75
Yeah.
credits, because like I don't even have 100 credits. Although for the sheer fact that a light blaster pistol, brand new, is 300 credits, I still made off like the Dickens.
Yep.
Stupid Trandoshan.
Yeah, I mean, unless the others have anything that they need to pick up, I think Shell's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good here.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
Well, let's see this busted ass down junk heap you call a spaceship.
I was just gonna say, Shell, we probably get to the ship, and it's like the schematics are, of course, like you can't really tell how bad a ship is in shape from like the schematics, and I imagine when you actually see it, it's just like, oh my god, it's pretty bad. Like it technically functions, but like that's about, technically functions is about the nicest thing you could say about our ship in its current state.
I think I would look at the ship like an artist looking at a blank canvas for the first time. And while other people would probably like avert their eyes and go, "Oh man, I can't believe someone actually flies that thing," I would just be like, "There are so many possibilities, and we will explore them all. Your ship is a piece of shit, but I will make it unshitty."
How kind of you.
No, well, it's a lot of work. Definitely going to be a lot of work, but we'll make do. All right, I
You
kind
might
of.
even have the credits to pay for all this work that you have.
Oh, I'm going to charge you a lot of money to fix this ship, but I will fix it. Just kidding.
You're part of the crew. This is our ship.
Oh, I own part of the ship.
It's your responsibility. Would be more accurate.
So let me get this straight. For the honor of being a member of your crew, I get to fix everything? That's like saying, for the honor of coming to visit my home, you can now clean it. You know what? It's okay. Luckily for you.
If somebody paid me 5,000 credits to come clean their house, I would shut up and stop asking questions and making quips, and I would do it.
Oh,
Maybe.
it's like family.
Maybe. This is, of course, if we do it. But talking about this job is not the same as doing said job, so I think we should go. And I can start looking at a list of things that I'm going to need to worry about. Fortunately for you, and I kind of just dole my backpack, I have all of my earthly possessions here. So, I think we should get going.
I agree.
Yeah, Keitra would round to the bay door, and Chip's waiting there and just kind of wheels down, and it's like as it beeps and whoops. All right, Chip. Well, we have our next assignment. I'll see you guys inside, and she'll actually go to the ship's computer, where she actually has a slicer there, and she syncs her data pad to it, and I'm going to try and tune in to Imperial Chat Radio and see if I can get any details on this shipment.
Ooh, cool. Good idea. Okay, so you're trying to tune into the police scanner, basically, sort of thing.
Right.
I think that's probably doable. I'll call it pretty difficult because I feel like it's definitely heavily encrypted. So I'm going to say it'll be 2 reds and 2 purples to try and hack into Imperial radio.
Okay. Two reds and 2 purples. Ooh, here we go. 2 purples. Do I get any bonuses for actually using the computer?
If you probably. I don't know.
Any boost?
I think it gives you like an innate boost, right, when you use the ship computer, because it's like
I think so.
Specialized.
I think so. Yeah, I think it gets.
I don't remember what it does though.
I think it's supposed to be a boost.
Yeah. Okay.
Ships and managed threat. So, we'll just go with that for now. All right. Roll.
Did it?
Yep. So yeah, with all of my slicer skill, and I do it in usually in half the time actually that it would normally take.
Okay. So you cut through several firewalls and manage to leave various fake pieces of evidence behind, so that if they start to search for who the fuck has gotten into Imperial radio, it will lead them down rabbit holes, and I guess your location is always bouncing to different places in the galaxy, and so they can't really track you. And you manage to get in there, and you can hear all sorts. I guess it would just be what's local. Within this asteroid sort of belt area, there's not a lot of Imperial chatter here. But you are quite close to the planet, which is why he's sending you now.
Okay.
But you would just hear a lot of inane sort of checkups and that kind of thing. A lot of sort of this ship is going to this position, or this watch is finished and go over here, and that kind of thing for now.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put in a script that will basically just monitor the chat for the name of the planet, if any ships are going to that planet in particular, and anything about a tech, all basically the details that were given us by Oomb. So that if that comes up, I'll just get a little alert to that, so I don't have to sit there and just listen to it all day.
Okay, cool. So you're monitoring Imperial radio, and then you can give the coordinates to Chip. and he will initiate the journey, like flying out of the Manx shield and into the asteroid belt again. And they've got like several gunships sort of set up to just like blast a path for those trying to leave or enter, as it's like this constant sort of spinning web of asteroids in various directions. And once you kind of get clear enough, you can punch it all the way up, and the stars will turn from dots into streaks, and you can fly. It's not far to Mawan Gaza. It's maybe like 40 minutes, so like very close in terms of how far away it is. And like it's one of those things where like the radio, you get sort of like, because you're like going at such a speed, it doesn't really factor in, doesn't work properly. And then just like that, you are in orbit above this desert planet, mostly desert planet. There's like around the equator this like string of jungle that you can see, but most of it is desert. And you have the location, or the vague location of this holding facility, which is a prison, a very small prison. And you start making your way in that direction, and you can see that there's a like settlement nearby. As you like swoop over that, you'll see that there's like various moisture farmers like spread out like a spider web from around this place, the settlement itself, and then like up atop a sort of like cliff plateau is this Imperial facility. It's small, you think. It's not like super imposing. It doesn't look like some massive Imperial base. There's no like troops parading outside of it. And I guess your gut would tell you that the Imperials think this is such an out of the way and pointless place that they don't need to like post a huge amount of people here. So yeah, that's what you'll see. What you want to do is up to you guys.
Getting through an Imperial base is going to be difficult without any sort of credential. They have some pretty strict checkpoints for these sorts of things usually. Don't just kind of like look over to Kitra expectantly. Like, you can just use your magic powers to make us have those, right?
Well, I can certainly give it a shot.
Unless any of you else have some other ideas of how we might be able to get into such a glorious facility.
Well, if it were up to me, I would suggest possibly going down and seeing how this facility is supplied and who supplies them. If we know who supplies them and how everything works, perhaps we could intercept and or use our ship to make a delivery run for local supplies for this place. Perhaps even maybe, depending on how it works out, maybe bring a little bit of contraband in. Perhaps maybe that is what the system works in a low to medium penitentiary facility such as this. Once in, then perhaps maybe we can work something out there to try and figure out what the layout is or the system is. Perhaps even while on our way there, we could try to use Kytra's abilities in order to slice in and get a schematic or a blueprint of the building. At least this way we'll have a map.
Oh, he's good. He's good. I like this one.
Yeah, Shell will just kind of like nod with an impressed look on his face, like, yeah, you got pretty lucky.
And
hey,
of
tough
course,
guy over there, you got anything to say? Any ideas?
Kishal just shrugs. I'm not paid to think.
Got the talky one and we got the quiet one. Hopefully it'll balance out there somewhere.
But first, we would need to find out where the nearest settlement is. I mean, I imagine that there has to be some way to supply this facility with all the potable water and food and, well, depending on what sort of Imperial soldiers are there. I mean, if it's Imperial Army troops, then that would be good, because normally they are far more undisciplined than their stormtrooper counterparts. So something as simple as that, then it should be no problem to get in there and do what we have to do. If it's stormtroopers, then it's going to be violent. But I have a weapon. I'm sure all of us have weapons. It shouldn't be not much of a problem. In the meantime, if there is some time, which I assume there is some time, I will try to get this light blaster pistol working. And if anyone needs a spare sidearm, we can try and work something out from there. Oh, also, I made a chance during hyperspace. Let me just tell you what doesn't need to be fixed in this ship. The chair, the pilot's chair, is actually okay. That is all.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of spare parts. Also gonna need a lot of time, a lot of time.
And a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it does work pretty well right now. Like, if you had to put a number, like how important, like, because it works, right? We got here.
And you say that like a ceiling panel, just like.
Yeah.
The main thing is your impulse engines. They are running dirty. Your sublight, which makes it very easy to be tracked. Your hyper drive is inefficient, and that's going to require some repairs as well. Also, I see your Sabbat table is broken. I don't like Sabbat, so I will not fix it. Sabbac is a silly
Fair.
game. Wookiees like Sabbac for some reason. I don't understand. But also, of course,
let's get on with it.
All right.
Says.
Fine. We'll get to it later.
Hey, Troy, if you can get us a check on who supplies this place, if you can figure that out, see if you can pull up any manifests, anything that might be going in pretty soon, and see if we can
you would have
find a way to associate with one of them. Sorry.
You'd have flown, like, as you're flying towards this place, you would see that there is a set, like, if you imagine this is on a cliff, and the cliff sort of, like, slides up in this direction, and, like, it sort of, like, the facilities at the top, it's obviously, like, where the Imperials who, like, do the Imperial thing around here are. It's not like a governor's mansion, and it's not quite a prison, but it's somewhere in between. And then, like, as you, like, go down that hill, in the shadow of that cliff, there is, like, a small settlement. As I say, it's mostly, like, farmers, moisture farmers and things like that. And, like, a small, sort of, you think, probably the usual sort of shit that you find in, like, a frontier town. So nothing fancy, but you think that they probably supply them up above. And, like, in typical sort of Imperial fashion, there's, like, one single perfectly straight road that goes from here to the next place, you think. You know, whatever amount, 100 miles away it might be, or hundreds of miles even, that it might be. But just, like, one perfectly straight Imperial road that they've, like, carved into the earth, basically.
Yeah, so Keitra tries to pull just that, like, hologram of the where the settlement is. And so, like, it, like, sputters, is like, psst, psst, and she has to, like, kind of, like, hit the side of the wall there, and it, psst, and it shows up.
These guys will probably be our best bet. See if we can cut a deal with them, take some of their difficult transportation off of their hands for them. You're muted, Mike.
I was hoping I'd get through one campaign where that never happened, and no, I didn't. Perhaps maybe we could. Well, we have muscle. We certainly have other individuals who are able to. We could do it by force, but judging by the way they're flying, I imagine their ship is in just as much of a poor state as this one. Maybe we could do a trade.
Wait, I'm picking up something. Chip, put it on the intercom. I think they're playing our song. And an Imperial chat comes over the intercom, and it reads out, Imperial Detention Center, B84C. This is Commander Emery Vrask. We shall be making contact in 14 hours. Ensure that the cargo is prepared and restrained for transport.
$14. But probably don't want to cut it too close. By the time we start getting into the last couple hours there'll be more guards getting ready to load it, so on. I think sooner the better.
I would agree with that.
I think perhaps we pay a visit to our little settlement down here, see what moisture they're farming up. Getting ready to send it up here pretty soon.
All right.
Keeter would go ahead and set a timer on the ship's computer for 14 hours to count down. So, of course, we'll get any sort of alerts as that time gets closer.
Yeah. I think other than that, I'll just. I'll probably grab locals. I'll probably grab my toolkit as well. With me, because I have a feeling that people who live out on the fringes like this, especially farmers, it's the best way. Some of the best ways to apply for information is through favors as opposed to credits. So I'm going to grab my toolkit, and I have a feeling that at least someone is going to need a moisture evaporator fixed, even though I don't speak the binary language of it. There you go. There's your Star Wars reference. While we're playing Star Wars.
The town itself is small enough that it doesn't even have a name. It's just like the town by the detention center. And you think that like a very few people actually live here in the town itself. There is like a cantina is generous. It's like a saloon or like a pub. And there's like a swoop bike fixer-upper sort of mechanic type style shop, where you can like buy a piece of equipment if you need it, and then there's like a local sort of sundry store, all the stuff that you need that you can't grow yourself. And yeah, like I said, most of the people who like live in town don't actually live in town. They live on various moisture farms like, out from the town, and will come in for whatever purpose they need. Where do you want to go? Like, I guess, like, importantly, small enough that when you land here, like, no one comes over and is like, are you going to pay me? Which is, like, unique probably to you so far, you know?
Yeah, I imagine once we land, Estelle will just kind of like look over to the others. Anyone got any good starting points? Or did we just go try to make some friends?
Yeah, social interaction is not really my thing.
Yeah, with that, Shell will just begin to walk out.
Yeah, so like I said, there's like a pub sort of saloon area thing. Most of it's outside in like a shelter of like a marquee. More of a tent than anything. There is a permanent sort of building here, but you think it's like where they just keep the stuff cold as opposed to like hang out in there. And then yeah, like it's the same building as the swoop bike fixer upper and the general store. It's like one thing, and like the road literally goes and like ends at this place, and then like goes from here infinitely, you think, like to the equator, in the way that Imperials build roads that just like go on forever, and are perfectly straight and just go through whatever they want. This is like the northern extreme. You're like way up the top of this planet, and so yeah, this is like the literally end of the road.
Well, I assume, Shell, that you would probably want to visit the cantina in order to speak with the locals. Good. While you do that, I'm going to pay a visit to some of these farms to see if maybe information can be bought by way of fixing some of their kit.
Sounds like a plan.
Kishal, stand there and look angry. You're doing great.
I think Kishel like kind of reaches down for his blaster and then thinks better on it.
Yeah,
Well
so
then,
you can like walk.
I guess
Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, what are the other two going to do if Shell's going to the cantina and Mike's going to some of the farms?
I think Keitra, yeah, she just was like, how about, she looks over at Kashal, why don't you accompany Shell? He tends to get in trouble. Perhaps you can ensure that he does not. And I'll go with Cass.
Kishel just nods, gets his gear. Probably there's this moment where he kind of looks at a couple of bits of it and he's like, and he grabs it.
All right, big and scary with me. Let's go.
And tiny and potentially dangerous, please come with me.
All right.
So the saloon bar is, like I say, it's just a tent, and it's swelteringly hot. You're in a desert, in like a very real sense, and not like a sweltering, like hot, sandy desert, but just like a place where there's nothing. And so like they have moisture farms here, and that seems to be the extent of it. And like the bar is just a wooden structure, and there's like nobody here. There's no one sitting in the bar. There's no one at the actual bar. But you can hear like some noises of like cling, cling, cling from like inside the building which is connected to this bar. And like if you go and like ring the bell on the bar, which I could only assume Shell is the kind of person who would actually ring a service bell, then you'll hear like a and eventually like come wandering out from behind is a basilisk, like very very large four-armed alien that will like be scratching his arse with one hand and like scratching the back of his neck with another as he like waves sort of politely with another and moves his way up to the bar and like leans on it. He like looks very confused. Help you?
Yeah, I guess you don't get many visitors around these parts, and we'll kind of like look around at the completely empty bar.
You don't look like you're a local.
Yeah, we were in the system. One of our guys is looking at the ship, and we're not really. It's a whole. Just figured we'd come here and take a rest while he's checking it out.
Just happened to end up in the North Pole.
How much for a drink?
Well, we got water and we got not water.
Water is fine.
All right, it'll be 11 credits. And he'll like, which is just fucking extortionate. But you are literally in the middle of nowhere. and you think that water's a pretty precious commodity around here, and so he like goes to a tap and like clean, crisp, recycled water.
He'll take the glass and pay for it. He'll just pay. Like part of him wants to be like 11 credits, whatever, but he's just not gonna bother right now. Just kind of like look over. You got another shop back there. Kind of like motioning to where he had heard the clanging from. I guess people around here have to do more than one thing.
I do a lot of things. I fix some things. I sell some things. I run this bar. I'm the only person who lives in town.
Where do all the others go when they're not here? Say like not having seen like literally any other place, like even close other than the facility.
He like points in 4 directions at the same time. There's moisture farms this way, and he like points in various. And they mostly keep to themselves. They only come in when something's broken, or when they need to buy things that they can't make themselves. It's quiet. I like that.
Does seem to have its own sort of presence. And where do you get your supplies then?
Oh, imps. He like points up at the cliff where the center is.
You work with them often?
Often as I have to.
Yeah.
It's in their interest for me to be selling their stuff. Then we supply them with water and whatnot. There's a trader comes by every couple weeks, I guess. I just like totally lost like my entire train of thought. He's like chewing on something and like looking at you, and he's like obviously not one for conversation. He lives as far away as he can from people, and has like chosen this very solitary life. And so you think that he's pretty put out with the fact that he has to like speak for more than 20 seconds.
If somebody wanted to make some of these deals that you're making, I'll kind of like look up in the direction of the facility. I'm assuming that you have like, what is there, like a contact that you speak with?
Yeah.
Comes down here?
Mm-hmm. There's an officer comes down. And sometimes the boys from up there come down and they get drunk here.
Yeah, because we had just like try to like think of just like something random, like that he thinks that the Imperials might need. Like yeah, just we had some stuff that maybe, if we're in the area, if you have a guy that we can talk to, or when do they usually come down? When was the last time someone was here?
You know, they actually came by on a speeder 2 days ago, maybe. All loaded up, and when they came back, there were stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers?
Hmm.
A place like this?
He like shrugs all his 4 shoulders.
These moisture farmers that bring stuff up to these guys. Who do you say is who's kind of got the best sort of understanding of all that? I'll kind of like lay the credit stick down on the bar just in case. You know, if we wanted to just kind of get an understanding of the business that goes on around here.
Of the business. Well, most of the water goes through me. I live here. It's my home and my livelihood, and I rely on the Imperials to keep this place going. Probably wouldn't go very well for me if any sort of trouble happened.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I should be forthright. My parents, they run a moisture farm. It's not doing super great right now. But I'm trying to see how we could improve their sort of business line. I'm talking to some people out in different places. It's just
Yeah.
if I can help them out, I'd much rather be able to do that. So I figured we knew that there were some farms here, and I'm trying to get, it can be tough sometimes to, I'm sure, run operations like this.
Huh. He like scratches the back of his head with one hand, and he like pours himself a glass of water with the other two. Well, I guess you could go out to, like points in a direction briefly to Koar. He makes most of the water that goes up to the facility. He doesn't like strangers. He might try and shoot you if you arrive. A lot of people around here don't like visitors. That's why we live here.
Nah. Well, I won't overvisit then, and I'm sure I already have. I'm sorry for the intrusion.
Uh-huh.
And I finish off the rest of the water. You paid 11 credits for it. Might as well drink it. And then kind of just stand up, trying to look unassuming. I'll go check up on see how he's doing with the ship.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'll just kind of put up my hand and walk away.
You do that.
I think Kishel, this whole conversation is kind of wandering around the tent, and then when Shell wants to leave, he's the last one to leave, and he would just kind of look at the guy, give him a nod, and follow him out of the tent. But one of the things I'm not sure is I gotta be honest with anyone that's gonna watch this. This is only the second time I've ever played this game. So if I just wanted to get a read on this guy, because that's what he would have been doing in the whole exchange. Is this a guy that's got a wagging tongue? I guess.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an insight in this game? Maybe I'll call it vigilance. Maybe.
Vigilance. All right.
Is that correct? Is there an insight?
There is a vigilance.
Or perception, I guess.
Perception. Let's see. Charm, coercion. Cool. Yeah, I think it probably would be perception.
Yeah, let's go with perception.
Perfect.
And I'll say it's a difficulty 2. So that's 2 purples you're going to put in there. And then whatever you have for perception.
You could also make a case for it to be streetwise.
Yep, you definitely could.
Which would be a little bit,
Yep, I guess if...
It's the same for me, so...
Okay, yeah, whichever you want then.
Ooh, I don't know what that means.
That is a not success.
Okay, yeah, so he just gives him a nod, not able to read him, and ducks out of the tent. I think when he gets out, he's going to go to Shell. He's going to say, I don't know. Couldn't get a read on that guy, and you talk too much. You ask too many questions, and then the bullshit about moisture farm. I don't think he bought that.
It's tough to tell. Get out here to people like this, they don't do much talking. You can't really get a sense for who they are, what they want.
I get a sense he knows what you look like. A sense he knows what I look like.
Lots of people know what we look like. At least me. We do need to be careful, though. This is his only connection to any sort of livelihood, any sort of substance. He's going to be wary about anything that could mess it up. People are closer tied into this place than I thought. Make it more difficult to get them to open up.
Well, call me crazy, but as people go poking around in an Imperial base and relieve it of a belonging that they want, that seems to have gotten their attention, that's gonna bring a lot of heat down. People are gonna start talking. People are gonna start remembering what people looked like. Not sure how that sits with me. And he looks back at the tent.
What do you think we get rid of him?
Well, I know what I would do, but I'm not the chief here.
You're part of the crew. You're a big boy. You can make your own decisions.
Yeah, maybe I'll go get a drink.
I'm gonna go check on the other guys. You have fun.
Yeah, and I think Kashal's gonna go back into the tent.
Okay, let's take a quick break there before we engage in cold-blooded murder. Yeah, we'll be back in like 5-ish minutes. Okay, so Cassian and Kitra, you've gone to the nearest moisture farm. Is that right? Yep. So I think you'd have to probably get like a swoop bike or something. I imagine you have one on the ship, maybe. I don't know. But like
Sorry, a which?
a swoop bike or something like that, like a little speeder.
Yeah, probably.
Something
Hopefully.
like that. And you can make your way to like the nearest moisture farm. Yeah, you can get there. It's pretty far away. You've probably been like 20, 30 minutes maybe on this thing at maximum speed. Before you get to like the first place. And it's very much like on Tatooine where it's like dug into the ground so it doesn't get like blistering sunlight all the time. And there are all these like collectors, moisture collectors, like spread out around the place. And you can like see that at one of these very, very tall sort of towers that collect moisture, one of the there's like a man there and he's like scratching the back of his head and looking up at it, and he can like hear the noise and he like turns and sees someone approaching. And then like the gun over his shoulder he'll like bring and like not point it at you but like have it pointed at the ground as you approach.
So I guess I'm assuming we just kind of stop right in front, and I'll probably stop with about 20, 25 feet away to not appear like not going to get into this guy's like personal space. But I'll just kind of like try and stay back far enough, and I'll probably sit on the bike and speak to him loudly, like a little bit loudly first before I approach him, because obviously I don't want to spook the guy. I don't want to, get him itchy, and I don't want to cause an incident, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my friend and I, we have a ship back at the what would you call it, settlement? Anyway, it's going down for some repairs, and well, we had some time to kill, and I thought maybe I could come by and see if anyone needed any help. If you needed assistance in fixing anything, I am a fairly decent mechanic, and I'd be happy to help you if you require it. No charge. I am not asking for any money. I'm not a grifter. I'm not trying to sell you anything or steal from you. Simply to help someone out.
You see he's like thinking about it. Like, what's the catch? Well, certainly some of these are not in the best shape. I could make you dinner or something.
Dinner sounds lovely. May I get off my bike? If you will not shoot me, please, that would be lovely.
All right.
Thank you. I am approaching. And I'll just that, I'm not going for anything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to purposefully carry my weapon maintenance kit in the same hand as where my holster is, so I appear even less threatening as I approach him. And I'm going to approach him to about 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet. My name is Cassian Vex. You may call me Cass.
Cass. I'm Co.
A pleasure to meet you. So, how can I help you?
He like looks up at the moisture gatherer like that he's standing next to. It's not working very well. Its efficiency is down by quite a bit. It still works, but I don't know what it is.
Well, then let's see if we can fix your problem. And I'll like unsling my backpack still a bit slowly, kind of like eyeing him just to make sure that he doesn't get twitchy. I'm going to put my weapon maintenance kit in my bag. As I'm doing that, though, I'm just going to let him know. This is a weapon maintenance kit. I also fix weapons, sidearms, blasters. If you need any energy weapon fixes, I can do that for you as well.
What are you getting out of this?
Well, if I would be blunt, and you seem like someone who wants to be blunt. I am looking for some information.
Mm-hmm.
My group of friends and I, we are traders. We deal with bric-a-brac, odds and ends, and we did notice that there was a bit of a signal coming from this area, and I'm thinking it's that really big building behind me. We haven't really approached it yet because we decided to land in, get something to drink first. I was just wondering what it was. Is it a trade center? A hub?
It's Imperial. It's kind of like
Oh.
a prison, I guess. Small, though. It's where the
Oh,
local magistrate lives, and that's where they take prisoners to be... He, like, points at the sky.
I think I understand what you mean. I'm not a big fan of the Empire. They scare me, especially those stormtroopers. Dangerous individuals and very good shots.
I wouldn't know. I try not to deal with them as much as I can. The water we make here, most of it goes up there, but beyond that, I just try and keep it, you know.
I understand. Do they ever come into town? And I'm gonna start like walking over to the moisture evaporator, I guess it would be.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not even sure how it works, but I guess it's like a big pointy thing that like collects moisture from the air.
Do they ever come into town? These Imperials?
Yeah, they do sometimes. They come in for a drink on their time off, and they're not bad guys overall. They just work there, you know. Most of them are just boys.
I understand. Imperial Army types are very well, they're a lot less rigid than stormtroopers. I personally think most stormtroopers live in their armor. So stuffy.
I think they're droids. I've never seen one of their faces, so you can't be sure.
Oh, that's a good point. Goodness. You imagine that? I mean, we destroyed all this droid army in the war years ago, and now the Empire is using droids as stormtroopers. Oh, terrible. And so I'm gonna make an attempt to repair the moisture evaporator or whatever you would call it.
It's just two.
If
You go.
I was gonna say, if I assist, would that give him a boost?
Definitely. Yep. I think you have enough like mechanical sort of at least computery knowledge.
Yeah, I have two in 2 ranks in mechanics. So
Oh yeah, for sure then.
Okay. Cool. So it's 1 boost die.
Yep.
All right. There you go.
Yep. So you can see what the problem is. Like it's just some of the things need to be tightened, and like it's not collecting at the correct rate. There's like an incorrect integer somewhere in the programming, and like between the two of you, you're able to like figure this out and get the thing working back up to like peak efficiency. And so like it goes from a sort of like dull like to like a more high pitched whine, and like when he hears that change, he sort of smiles. Yeah, you did it.
Well, not too bad, and I like to fix things. I definitely like to fix things, and I'll kind of close up the panel. And thank you for your help, Gaitra.
yeah, it's actually, and she's kind of like she's got like little grease marks on her face and stuff, and she's like, it's actually been a while since I've done anything like this.
It's nice to work with one's hands, and I'll look at Ko, as I'm sure you well know.
All of my work is with my hands. There's a satisfaction to it, I agree.
Yes. So do you think that that Imperial place would be open for trade or open for someone to come in with supplies? Or do you think it would be too dangerous?
I think usually, yeah. They're, I wouldn't say lax, but they're just people most of the time. The magistrate's not that bad. But the other day, I saw a speeder going up there with some stormtroopers. So I think maybe they'd be stricter than usual.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I guess if there's no other way, I mean, I imagine that hopefully at some point uh, we would be able to maybe wait for them to leave, but even then, we must get going. After all, going along the great trade routes, trying to make some kind of a profit, as I can well imagine you try to do as well here.
That's it. Same shit, different day.
Hmm. Were there a lot of stormtroopers?
Maybe 6? Something like that.
Oh, that's not a good sign. Something big must be happening. But
Yeah, there was a battle, so and he like points way off into the distance. There were some spaceships flying around.
was that wasn't there some sort of rebellion?
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah, they were fighting in low orbit, I think, and something crashed, and then there was all sorts of activity. There was ships coming and going, and yeah.
well, it's a good thing. See, this is the problem. People, they want to make war. They want to make war everywhere. And they don't think about the people who are just trying to live their lives on the planet. I mean, what if that ship crashed right into the settlement? Then what?
Right.
Ridiculous. And I guess I'll go over and try to fix another one.
Yeah, I think
just to kind of eat up.
It's pretty routine in terms of like you making rolls. Like it's not difficult, and between the two of you, definitely, you have it sussed.
So yeah, I'd probably fix like maybe another one or maybe another 2 more moisture evaporators, and then at that point, kind of.
You know, if you wanted
Basically,
to go up there, I could put in a good word for you. Tell them I sent you, but I don't know if it's a good time. But if you want to do, I could do that.
if you would, I would be honored, and I would thank you deeply, and that would be a fair and fine trade for that, and I could not repay you.
You've done plenty. You've fixed 2 of my things, and I didn't know what was wrong. And he's been like watching carefully as you fix it, like, and you can see that he's like not a stupid man.
Actually, I think what I would be doing is while I'm doing it, telling him what I'm doing. So I would be also like teaching as well as like fixing and kind of showing, like kind of like the bits and everything else, just to kind of.
Yep. And you can see he's a fast learner, and like as you're doing the 3rd one, he like will say, "Oh, and next you do." Oh, right, yep, that's what I thought. And like he's picking it up as you go, and yeah, so he'll offer to put in a good word for you at the Imperial base if you wanted to go and trade there.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think after like probably a small meal or something, and I mean, and whatever spread he would put out, I would probably try to eat less than what he would expect us to eat, because I mean, he's a farmer and probably, he's a hungry guy. So he probably wants to get his own food going.
Right. He's got a family out here as well. You can like eat with them, and they're adorable and very nice.
You say that with such disdain. It's like the saltiness of that was just.
Well, I just think that it's like that Cassian probably doesn't care so much that they're very nice, and that like it's a very cute sort of ideal family unit. It's probably not.
Oh yeah, it's just
so wrapped up
not
in.
really. No, it's a charming biological thing that biological things do, but no, it's
So I would imagine like after we eat and then we start making our way back over to the speed bike to head back, Keitra would just take a moment and just turn to Cass as they're like just loading up their bags and stuff on the bike. Cass, can I ask you something?
At the risk of starting an infinite loop by saying you just did, what is your question?
Well, you and she just kind of points back at what they did. How did you seem like a really nice guy. How did you get mixed up in all of this?
with the right. Well, I used to be a weapons R&D researcher for a company I point at your sidearm that you know very well, Blastech. Many people know Blastech. The Empire knows Blastech. I'm sure the rebels have been stealing and acquiring Blastech technology, but needless to say, it was very stymieing, and I have been wanting to build my opus, the greatest blaster. But unfortunately, I was stymied by corporate stupidity. So I left. Apparently, you're not supposed to just do that when you work for a very large corporation like Blastech. And so they didn't like that. And they've been wanting to get me back for some time now. And then I kind of ran away. But I, though it is socially acceptable to consider that doing things for someone in exchange for information is good, I mean, understand that what you just saw there was a transaction. I mean, I was providing a good service, and in the meantime, they provided me with a favor. Thankfully, it was a win-win situation. I mean, I'm sure that if Kishal or someone more angry was to come up and point a blaster at their head and tell them that they will put in a good word for us or else, that it might get them so far. But if you win the hearts and minds of people and they are more willing to do these things for you, then it's just easier in the long run. Oh, now that I have your attention, actually, I do have an idea. When we're in there, if there's a chance for you to get to a computer terminal, do you think it's possible to siphon to kind of into the pay schedule and try and siphon funds into a small slush account?
She just kind of chuckles and she looks at you and says, and here I thought I had you all figured out.
Yes, it's funny how many times I have heard that in my life. It is more often than you think. But like I said, and then kind of like get on the swoop bike, and then I'll be just kind of yelling back to Kytra as we're going back. So yes, that's what I'm thinking. All soldiers need to get paid, but if we steal their pay, we'll probably get more money than what we need. Also, I have a feeling that depending on how south things go, because I have a feeling that this might go very, very south very quickly, there might be a chance that we might be able to free and or ransom any of these prisoners. They might be high important people. We might be able to give them back in exchange for favors. Favors are definitely more valuable than credits. I do something for you, you do something for me. You know what I mean?
Just get me inside. You work your magic with blasters. I have my magic around a terminal.
I'll see what I can do. And if worse comes to worse, we can shoot everything. Though I don't think it would be very advisable. Noise, communications, they probably are already tracking our ship as we speak. So they already know what our IFF signature is. They probably know everything about it. So, yes, I would suggest that brevity would be a good discourse.
As you say that, we pan back to the saloon where Kishal is going back to get a drink. And you can flip open the whatever bit of loose fabric into the saloon again and feel the heat. There's one sort of semi-broken fan that's moving stale hot air around, and he's not here anymore. He's wandered off again to do whatever he's doing in the back of this place.
Yeah, Kishal goes up to whatever this makeshift kind of bar, and he just kind of bangs on it.
1 second. And you hear a and then he clearly clambers up and starts to move in the direction of the bar, And yeah, like sort of the bead curtain that is like the connection between the room he's in and the bar itself. He like pushes it aside with one of his arms and then like comes back to the bar and leans 2 elbows on it. Back for more. Water?
Kishal shakes his head. He goes, I don't drink water.
I've got
Give me the
no
other
water.
stuff.
Alright. And he like he doesn't even have to move or look because he's got all these extra arms, and so he's like doing it under the counter. You can hear like sort of like pouring happen, and then he like produces thunk, little glass, a shot glass of some kind of moonshine. You can like smell it from here, and he like slides it towards you.
I think Kishal is waiting for him to tell him how much it's going to be before he grabs the glass.
6.
So he counts out 6 credits onto the bar top and slides it over to him, and he grabs a shot and he drinks it, and he tries not. It's like I would say, using a comparison weirdness, it's like jet fuel. I imagine. And he's like, "You make this stuff yourself?"
Yeah, it's good, huh? It'll do the job. And quickly.
It'll definitely do the job. Yeah, so, I sometimes wonder why I work for that guy. He doesn't seem to do anything right. And his family,
He's got a big
I don't
mouth.
know. What?
He's got a big mouth.
Yeah. That's what I tell him all the time. He never listens to me. And I told him he was foolish to hang around with his family, with that whole moisture farm. They don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of competition here.
I guess. Yeah. Most of them are doing it for their own sake, just to get by. Co makes enough that he can sell it to the imps. There's a couple of others who do that, but mostly it's him.
Imps.
Imperials.
I know that, but I imagine they don't like being called that.
Yeah, well, they're not here.
So what's it like? Last planet I was on, where the imps were, they weren't too well received there.
I don't think they're really well received anywhere, unless you're in the core. But they're here. We can't do anything about it, so I try to get on well with them if I can.
Yeah. That makes sense. Foolish not to. Bring in one of those big destroyers they have and just level the planet. Not that I've ever seen that before, but I've heard they've done that.
They just use this place as a holding facility for criminals from all over the planet. They bring them here and then they bring them up to wherever they go.
Is it because it's... Now, just let me know. This is like, we're pretty far out on the rim.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised they're even this far out.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something here during the war. And I guess they just kept this facility here. There's barely anybody up there. Well, now there's the stormtroopers, but usually there's barely anybody up there.
Stormtroopers. Do you see many of them?
I didn't really look. No more than 10. Less probably.
Give me another one of those.
You got it.
And he counts out 6 more. And I can't remember if he said this to Shell or not. But has he lived here his whole life? Had he asked him that question?
He didn't ask, no.
Okay. So how long you lived here? As he gets ready to do this next shot.
Yeah, he slides it across. I'm here about 20 odd years, thereabouts.
Retirement, huh? And he...
Yeah, something like that. And he'll do one himself. It's quiet. I like quiet.
I hope I live long enough to retire myself. But I don't know. I'm certain my boss will get me killed in some fashion or other.
Dangerous line of work, being a moisture farmer, is it?
Nah, more or less. His mouth gets him into trouble, and I talk people out of it.
That's not surprising.
But I guess I should get going. It keeps me on a short leash. Actually, I have to keep him on a short leash.
Yeah, I think he's more likely to get in trouble than you.
And he reaches across and he says, "Anyways, so it's good talking to you. I'm Timic." And he puts out his hand to him.
Timic, huh? I'm Orn.
Shakes his hand, or one of his many hands. And well, I might see you around if we're going to be here for a while. And I think he would walk out of the tent.
Yeah, he'll wait there for a second, and then he'll go back to his work. So the four of you can meet up again in the center of what is barely a town.
And I'll probably keep my voice down even though I don't need to. So, did you get much information?
A lot of the people here are entirely dependent on the Imperials up there.
Yes, that's what I got from our new friend Ko. He's a moisture farmer, just 30 minutes back that way. He said he was going to put a good word in for us to come in and trade. So we might not even necessarily need to deal with this other freighter. However, we don't exactly have any goods to trade. Unless you've been hiding something on here that I don't know about. Do we have anything? No? Well, Voodoo. That's not going to work very well for us. All right. Tell you what. We could do it like this. We arrive at the prison. We see that we are passing through on our way to another system. We had to fix our ship, but in the meantime, we figured we'd stop by an Imperial station because we have me, a fairly very good weapons technician who would gladly provide the service of fixing your blaster rifles. But now here's where things get interesting. Now there's a chance that depending, because apparently I heard that there's some stormtroopers up there now. Apparently 6.
The same.
6 on a land speeder heading up. So there must have been no more than 6 stormtroopers, which is really not that bad. Now, if we go there, okay, we land the ship. I offer to do that. This is what we can do. Now, I have a feeling that the stormtroopers are not going to let us touch their weapons because they're funny that way. It must be droids. Anyway, doesn't matter. We can offer to repair and maintain some of these weapons because, after all, I'm pretty sure that board guards do not sit there and clean their weapons. They probably do other things like gamble. Maybe. So I offer to repair their weapons, but I do a little thing with their weapons in order to drain all of the gas out. So basically, they have empty guns. Then we can turn on them and say, okay, we're going to take this thing, and we go take the thing. We could do it that way. I would rather not harm any of the main guards. I don't care if we kill the stormtroopers. Seriously, fuck those guys. They're dicks. But the main guards, they seem okay, and they seem kind of nice. So we could do that. Oh, but wait a minute.
So, one question about the plan, because I think that if it works, it's a very good plan. But what if they say no thanks? We don't need the help.
Well, like I said, the good thing is that one moisture farmer did put in a good word. But now that I'm thinking about it more, if we go up and take and do stuff, they might do something to that moisture farmer. So maybe we can try and sneak around. Maybe it could just be a couple of us. One person can break in. Maybe one of you can help me out, because I see the plan, but not the steps. I see the finished result of the droid in our hold, but I don't. There's something. I'm trying to look at every single angle. Is basically what I mean.
It could be that we might be able to do both in a ways. You and I meet them up at the front, start talking about how we can fix their weapons and such and all that. Meanwhile, Kitra can find a terminal somewhere else, start doing her thing with that, and then they can get a lay of the land, see if they can unlock any doors while we distract the sort of frontline guards, and then they can either go in and do it themselves while we distract them, or we can meet up after they unlock a back way in or something like that, and we can go from there. That way, we're never connected, and we don't have to put your guy on the line, but we still get eyes off of the people who need eyes off of them.
Shell, that's brilliant. I love it. I think that will work quite well. And don't worry, Kishal, if worse comes to worse, you can shoot things. You like to shoot things, don't you?
That's why we brought him on. He loves to shoot things. It's his favorite.
Great. Good. Then this will be a win-win-win-win-win situation for everyone. Except for Chip. Chip doesn't have anything to do, but Chip can stay here. And it was at this point.
Yeah. No, Chip will make sure that the ship is running and ready to go. Per usual.
Perfect.
He's used to running the ship while we run to it. So
well, and if we word can be, if it turns out that they're wondering why their ship is still running, we can just say that we have a bad pre-igniter. And there's no spare parts on the ship. So if we don't leave it running, if we stop it, then we might not be able to get it running again. There you go. There's your story. The backstory, it works for me.
Any objections? Any questions?
Kishal, you seem tense. You seem like there's something wrong. What is it?
I think Kishal just stares at Cass, doesn't say a word.
All right, fair enough.
Between the two of us, I think we got the talking covered. He can do the shooting.
That works. All right. Okay. Well, then, let's be off.
Let's do it.
So the intent is to go up to the Imperial base and offer the services, basically, instead of like goods, of repairs and fixing things and whatever, in return for Imperial sort of thank you, that kind of thing.
Well, a thank you, some credits.
Yeah.
Would be okay.
Okay.
Probably charge a premium. So, 20 credits per
Sure.
per blaster.
And are you all going together?
I know me and Castor for sure are just gonna go up front like that. I don't know exactly how Kitra and Vishal want to approach their end of it. If you guys want to go with us and then find a way to break off, or if you want to slip away earlier than that.
I'm just going to assume that this ship has some, areas that wish to remain secret.
Yes.
Perhaps the two could hide inside there. We go on board. They'll probably scan the ship because they're going to want to make sure that there's no surprises. After they scan the ship, they toddle out, sneak in, do what they have to do.
Fine by me.
Because if you try, well, yes, if you try to approach by swoop bike or if you try to approach on foot, you're going to get caught and you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
And I would very much like
point up there.
Precisely, and I would like you to not get shot. So I think coming in by ship is the smartest, most logical way.
Is there anything that I need to roll in order to basically fake the Imperial credentials for these two or our ship or anything like that?
So, you're talking about like.
I don't think we're not trying to pose as Imperials, though, are we?
No, but Imperials tend to, they want to see your ID and all that stuff. So you have to be registered in some form or fashion. So
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't think this ship has any sort of like slights in terms of Imperial crimes. I think you might have a fine or something.
We paid that.
You paid, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think like the ship itself is clean, and I think your IDs in terms of Imperial crimes are clean. Like not for many gangs and stuff, but like for Imperial stuff, you're fine. If you wanted to try and like fake identities, I think that's easy. But faking a transponder code is super difficult and really expensive. So that's not something that's doable with just like a simple hack, I don't think.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be up to Shell and Cass if they want to go in as Shell and Cass, or if they want to go in as other people.
My worry is that we try to hack in, and if we get spotted trying to do that, then basically the rest of the cover's blown up top.
No, we wouldn't. I don't have to hack in. This is just basically making you a fake ID, basically. So when they ask for your...
do that, then yeah, that'd probably be easier, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Is there... Yeah, I was going to say, is there anything that you want... difficulties or anything you want to impose on that? For fake Imperial credentials?
Yeah, I'll say it's 3 purples to whip up something believable. Okay, cool. So definitely a success. You've got a triumph there as well, so we can talk about what that is. I think the threat might be that Cassian is like wanted for some stuff anyway, and they might like recognize the image as opposed to the name, something like that. But what do we want this triumph to be?
What kind of services are you offering? Just fixing weapons?
Yeah, equipment repair and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay. So whatever, like, one of the best weapons dealers out there or whatever, I would say like their credentials put them on like these guys are not just showing up. They're not just like people who are wandering around fixing weapons. They are representatives of one of the top weapons vendors out there, and they're making a house call, if you will.
Okay. Yep. So like,
I have our manifest read as we're actually a business who does this, who's does this sort of thing often, sort of
Right.
angle.
yeah.
Yeah, like, oh hey, it's time. You didn't know this, but it's part of your warranty that we have to come
Your
in.
boss made the
Yeah.
appointment. He told us to come here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you sort that out, and then you can fly your way up towards it. It's not that far. Like you can see it from the town. You can fly up there and like land in the area in front. And like as you're like approaching, you'll get a sort of this is Imperial Base. What was it? B-84C. Send transponder codes. And I assume that you'll do so.
Yeah, Chip will and send it out.
Yeah, and with that sent, you'll be given like a flight path to like land in a very specific place, and they'll like basically have like checked already like your IDs and things like that to ensure that you are like that it makes sense for you to visit, and given the nature of your visit, you're kind of allowed to enter the facility. And so like as you get off the ship, you can like come up to the main gates of this place, and with like a you're brought in, and immediately there's like this rush of cold air which you haven't felt in a while, and it's pretty pleasant in here for a prison. And so like you enter in, like you go down these steps, and there's like the reception where you're met by like an Imperial soldier. Basically looks more like a receptionist than a soldier. You're here for an arms checkup.
Yes.
Indeed, we are. This here is the engineer here. We got just here to do some routine maintenance here.
I see. Okay, well this all appears to be yes, all seems to be above board here. All right. Well, if you'll make your way through to the processing area in there, you'll be met by the sergeant. He'll speak to you about what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Yep, so you walk through this door and into like a large sort of open area. There are two like semicircular desks, or like consoles really, that are like back to back, and so they make a sort of circle in the middle of this room. And there's two like Imperial soldiers at them, sort of monitoring. You can see there are screens into like various places, and just with a quick glance, you can see many of them are monitoring cells, and there are people in those cells. And beyond that, just as you walk in, there's a stormtrooper that walks in from the other side, and he's got like this sort of shoulder piece that marks him as like a sergeant, so above the usual sort of rank and file. And he'll move up with sort of robotic precision to a certain point halfway and expect you to walk the rest of the way.
Yep. I walk the rest of the way and stand there.
You are here.
Shell will do so as well.
You're here to repair our weapons? A checkup?
Yes, that is correct.
Good. And he does like this with his hand for like ID cards and things like that.
Hand him.
Yep, Shell will hand over the fake ones, presumably.
He does that
Made.
like bouncer move where he like looks at the thing and then at you and then at the thing and then at you, sort of like back and forth for a while.
Damn Garda.
He hands back all of them except for yours, Cassian. You look familiar.
We Derosians often do look very familiar to each other.
Wait here. And he just like touches the side of his helmet and like says something that you can't hear, and then like holds onto your ID card and just like looks. And it's like he's so still it seems like he's not even breathing.
I'll probably like stop there and like just keep looking at him, and then kind of like side eye towards Shell and back.
You can hear this like light sort of elevator music that plays in the facility.
I imagine it's the boy from Ipanema. And just I guess we'll just wait, because I'm not messing with that.
It takes a
But
lot
I will
of time.
I will have my kit, like my weapon maintenance kit, at my side, and just kind of. Do you know how long this is going to take?
He just puts a hand up as you start talking. And he like nods. He's clearly like listening to something. Alright. Do you know a Derosian by the name of Cassian Vex?
No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. Alright. Yep. Alright. Alright, looks like you're clear to go. Follow me.
Inward, I loosened all my sphincters, like all 6 of them, and I will follow him with a heavy sigh.
So he leads you, all 4 of you, like through into what is like a break room or something like that. It looks like for the staff here. There are 2 like Imperial army members who are like sitting and like just like watching some sort of holovid and like eating their rations. And you can see that there's like several blaster rifles like set with exact precision upon the table, and like several blaster pistols as well opposite them. What's the fee?
$20 credits per rifle, 10 credits per pistol. So there's what? There's like, how many are there? How many, right?
So there's 6 blaster rifles, and there is like 11 blaster pistols.
So 120 plus 110, so 230 credit. Be 230 credits total. If there are any personal
He puts his hand up.
sidearms,
He's clearly talking to someone on the radio.
Imperial bureaucracy.
All right, that's acceptable. What were you saying?
If there are any personal weapons or personal items that someone wishes to have me look at, maintain, or modify, then we can arrange a more personal price and fee for that.
I see. Only standard issue equipment.
It's too bad.
We do not
Blastek
carry-
has some.
We don't carry any special equipment.
Well,
We
how
have agent,
unfortunate.
we see.
Are you droids?
No.
I've always wondered. Okay, I've always wondered that. That's fine. And I'll just take my kit, open it up, and begin getting to work and just starting to fix.
Okay, so I think if you want to like deliberately fuck at these weapons, I'll need both like a mechanics and some sort of like deception or stealth or something.
Yeah, I would imagine it. Yeah, I would imagine it would be both probably skullduggery, I'm gonna guess, and mechanics.
Skullduggery is perfect. Yep.
I think.
If possible, I don't. He might just be so direct that he wouldn't even allow it. But if Shell could, he's going to like intentionally like make dumb small talk to try to like keep this guard's, even if he can't keep his eyes off of Cass, just to like have those like random distractions of like, so how many people did you keep here? You know, what sort of prison? What are they in for? Just like inane, dumb shit to distract them.
Do you have like deception or something like that?
I do. I have.
Or is it charm?
I have deception and I have charm. Yeah.
Okay, which is better?
Charm.
Okay, and how much do you have of it? How much training? How many yellows?
I have 3 yellows, a green, and I reduce a black die.
Okay, so I'll give you 3 boosts then, Mike, to your skullduggery roll.
Perfect. What's the difficulty on the mechanics check?
So the mechanics, so you're, I don't think it's super difficult. You're basically trying to break them on purpose, right, or make them not work. So I'll say it'll be, I'll just say straight up 3. But I will give you a setback. You might reduce this naturally because he's watching you, and I feel like that's pretty tricky and scary.
So while this is going on, is this the opportune time for Keitra and Kishal to sneak out of the smuggler compartment?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
This role is so difficult for me to understand.
I know. I'm looking at this thing like, oh my god, this is like the Jackson Pollock of roles. Like, what do I even do with it? Where do I even begin?
So it's a failure, 2 advantages, and 2 triumphs, which is like it's not a success, right? But something incredible happens. Clearly, it's very confusing.
Okay. All right. You say that
Maybe
we're
it's
in
some sort of. Sorry,
So-
you go.
I was going to say, you say that we're inside like a break room, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be really, really a thing. So attempting to fix it, because this isn't my skullduggery. This is just mechanics to make it look like it. So I don't end up doing what I can to basically drain the gas. So the thing is, it's fixed, but it's still like in good working order. This is still an operational weapon. However, okay, I'm thinking you probably want to cost it 2 triumphs. By some fluke, as I was repairing it and fixing it, I bumped a screw off of the blaster. The screw fell and rolled out of the break room and taps the person monitoring the outside cameras in the foot long enough for him to look down and kind of like, what the hell is this? And as he's doing that, that gives both of them the all clear to be able to go without getting screwed over.
Yep, that's perfect. It's perfect and very Star Wars, I think. Yep. So you're like, I think you like the guns are probably like a little bit less, and because you got such an insane like 2 triumphs and 2 advantages. So I feel like we can say something like maybe they're hypercharged to the point where like they'll have 1 shot and then they will like they've just like overheated or whatever. We'll say that too. And then this bit like sort of rolls against the guy's foot. He's like, what the fuck? He like turns around to the other guy like, hey, did you tap me in the shoulder? He's like, no, I didn't tap you on the shoulder. And they're like blah, 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 for a little bit, and then you guys can sneak and not get seen.
That's what we call the Hail Mary shot.
But
right
then
there.
we also need a skullduggery roll. Yeah.
Yes. Now, if memory serves me correctly, you did say that I was getting 3 boosts.
Yes. It's going to be a red and... sorry, is that right? Hang on. What's his vigilance at? Being a professional guard, this man is unusually good at being vigilant.
Yes, he is.
Vigilance 2. Okay, so it's 2 reds and a green.
And a green.
Sorry, and a purple. Sorry, and a purple.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to tell you guys right now that we're screwed. But don't worry, I have a plan. So, this is not good.
No, it's not good.
This is the worst. So you see that symbol, Lionel, because I know you're new at this. That's like rolling a nat 1, but like worse.
It's called a despair.
Yeah, it's like rolling a negative integer.
The opposite of the triumph
Yeah.
that he got in the last one.
Now we do, we do have 2 light points.
Oh, that's true. Oh, I'm gonna.
So you have to use those before.
Right, because they increase your rolls. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so the reds and the purples are the difficulty, Lionel, and like in this case, the stormtrooper has 2 training in vigilance, which makes it 2 reds, and a 3rd level of just straight up perception, discipline. I don't know, whichever one governs that. Okay, so this is real bad. He sees that.
Thanks.
He sees that you are trying to tamper with the weapons. He can see like that something is wrong here. He has taken his rifle apart many times and put it back together. And you can see that something is going wrong here. That you're like not doing things in the correct order. And initially he's like, maybe it's just like, you know, this guy's pretty skilled. But then he starts to see that like you're deliberately tampering with these things. So let's try and figure out what these advantages are, and then we will get to this man's swift and terrible response.
I would say, and I would use both. I would use both advantages, and I would say that though he sees me doing something that it's like this is not part of it, and he's not doing something right, and something's messed up, and he's a stormtrooper, so he already doesn't like aliens. So I would say that that even he's like, hey, wait a minute, what are you? You are doing something bad. With those 2 advantages, it was just enough. There was just enough distraction by Shell that he didn't see the entire story. It would give me kind of a moment to try and talk my way out of this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not gonna work.
He sees it, and you can see that he like. His initial response is like he reaches down to his waist where his like stun truncheon is, and he's like pulling that as you start to talk.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? This is incorrect.
All right. First off, I am more than a little intimidated by a stormtrooper standing over me, breathing down my neck while I'm trying to do it. I am very nervous right now. And quite frankly, you scare the all-living hells out of me.
This is your job. You go to Imperial facilities and you fix their weapons. This should not be unusual to you.
I am still relatively new at this. I'm good at what I do, but I'm still very new at this.
Step away from the table.
Gladly.
And you. He looks at you, Shell.
Yeah, Shell will do the same.
Hands above your head, both of you.
What do you mean, hands above our head?
I don't like to repeat myself. Now.
Yeah, Shell will kind of like eye over to Cass like, well, I guess you're leading this right now, and if Cass puts his hands above his head, he'll do the same.
He like looks at the 2 soldiers, and he like points at them. Take these to the holding cell. And they are eating their dinner, and they're like, oh man. And they like stand up and like walk behind you and start to lead. He like turns away briefly to look at the guns, and he like picks up one of them and like places it back in the holster. and then clearly like gets on the radio. Okay, the other two, like you've snuck into the facility during all this like insanity that's been happening, and like the rolled piece of whatever that confused the guards, and I think like between the two of you like have snuck to a point where you can get to a terminal. So Kitra, this is your moment.
Yeah, so Keitra comes over to the terminal, and she like just basically moves her hand like down her pant leg, and she like pulls back these like Velcro pouches, and she's like thumbing these just these data chips, and she pulls one out that's got a label that says like just Imperial. Which has all the normal like Imperial bypass codes and stuff. So she plugs that in to the terminal, and she pulls out her data pad, and she starts trying to infiltrate in.
Okay, so because you're already in the facility, I think it'll be a bit easier. So I'm going to say it's going to be 2 reds and a purple. It's still like an Imperial facility and a prison of all things, you know. So okay. So you don't get in. You do get a number of like sort of close calls. You're like breaking down barriers as you go, but you're going to need like more time basically to do that. But what are we going to do with this? This is Triumph.
Is there? Well, so there's like a number of things I'd like to do while I'm in this terminal. First and foremost, what I want to do is, or the first thing I would like to do is turn off communications.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can buy us some time. Okay, so maybe instead of and I don't know that my team members have been captured at this point.
You're about to see them marching out with their hands above their heads, but not quite yet. I think like for this, like because the objective was to hack in and that didn't succeed, like you can do other things. I think with the Triumph, for example, you might be scrambling things because you're hacking at the moment. So we could say that the other computer things are not working because you are currently fucking with the system so heavily.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would make sense. Just yeah, everything just kind of like is I guess on the fritz or doesn't respond very well. So maybe if a door requires a key code or something like that, or it doesn't, it'll just turn red. It just won't let stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. So this is happening. Kishal, I guess you will now see like one of the doors open and like marching out are your companions. Behind them are 2 Imperial soldiers and then an Imperial stormtrooper sergeant who's like walking behind them. And you can see that he's like tapping on the side of his helmet, like something obviously isn't working the way that he expects. But he has this like stun truncheon in one hand. He's not holding a gun for some reason. So you think maybe the plan worked.
And he reaches over and Keitra, he just taps her shoulder and he points at the 2 being led. I guess things didn't go as planned.
Looks back up at you. Well, you're plan B, big fella.
How far away are they?
You're like across the big hall from them. They're probably like...
I mean, within long range.
Oh yeah, easily. Yep.
All right. So he unshoulders the blaster rifle that he has. Flips the jeez, am I gonna stun these guys or kill them? I think I'm gonna kill them. and he takes aim at the stormtrooper, and pulls the trigger.
Okay. So it'll just be difficulty 2, so 2 purples, and then whatever your ranged heavy is.
It's a goddamn lot, is what it is.
Probably.
Kishal ain't good at a lot of things, but he's good at one thing, and he does that one thing quite well.
Nope, no he doesn't.
Still
No,
no
he doesn't.
success.
Dang it.
Not this time. Okay, but it's still a triumph. Like, it's
Well, I mean, it's a triumph and an advantage. I mean, he does it.
right, but not a success, right? Because
Well, maybe like instead of killing him, maybe you disarm, or
yeah.
Or
So what I
or
was
maybe it'll
thinking
be
is,
so like. Sorry, you go, Lionel.
what I was thinking is the blaster shot. He at the last second, maybe he's aiming, and then he sees one of the guards move, so he adjusts his rifle, but it's too much, and the blaster shot goes wide, but it's enough to distract the 3 guards. So I don't know if that will give any advantage to Cass and Shell that are right there.
Actually,
Yeah.
it
That's
would
exactly
give.
what I was gonna say. Like maybe it gives us the chance to jump in and get a jump on them too, or at least have bonuses to our inevitable initiative roll that we're
Yeah.
about
And
to
if,
have or something.
and if we survive through this, Kashal's gonna say that was his plan all along. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you like, I guess it's like a rifle, right? So pretty loud, unless it's like modified to be quiet. It'll like make a big noise, and I guess like the 2 Imperial Army guys are just gonna go wah and like duck. With almost no discipline, the stormtrooper is going to move expertly to like the nearest piece of cover and like press himself against it. He's going to try and grab one of you and drag you by the collar, thinking like at least he'll have a hostage. But first we have to, I think, roll. Yes.
Well, actually, there is one good thing that I can do, because while all that is happening, I'm going to use a modification on my heavy blaster pistol that was taken away. It's my magnetic tether, and I hit a small button on a little glove, and much like the powers of the Force, that weapon goes right to my hand, and I aim it at the stormtrooper. That's kind of what I was hoping to get at with that triumph. And I now have my heavy blaster pistol at the ready, because I can quick draw as an incidental.
Cool. All right. So it just back into your hand, and let's roll. Oh God, initiative. It's gonna be bad news. Okay.
And I'm guessing for at least for me and Cass that this is probably going to be cool, not vigilance, or is it the other way around?
So vigilance is when you're surprised.
Oh, so vigilance, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be vigilance for us,
I don't
and
think
then
we
cool
knew
for
that was gonna.
cool for the other 2.
Yeah. So you don't have a difficulty. You just straight up roll the thing.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot I gave you like everything. I forgot I gave you a whole bunch in that. One thing I've often wondered is what happens if you roll a triumph when you're rolling initiative? Isn't it something special? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. So for me, I always just use it as a sort of like, because I always go like, success is a full 1, advantage is a 0.1, you know, and then like I would have it like if you had 2 successes and a triumph, you just go before someone who just has 2 successes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because I don't know if it's an actual roll. Like, you're not really taking an action roll, you know.
Yeah, I know for some of the specific like combat checks, they have like a table that has like some
Yeah.
preset effects. I wonder if they have any like initiative ones on that.
They might.
I'm not sure. I don't have it up.
Oh, yes, it is. Roll initiative, PC, and NPC.
Hmm.
Like when you do it on the website where it says under special roles.
Oh.
I have no idea what Gleep Glop is. Someone can maybe hook me up with that one. But yeah.
Sorry, one more thing.
All right, so we all had some boss roles with the initiative.
Yes, indeed. Not quite as boss as the stormtroopers.
Whatevs.
Okay, so all at once, I guess, things kick off. And Kishal, like before anyone's able to react to the shot that you just fired, you're able to like move again faster than anybody else in the room.
I think he just looks at Keitra and he says, "Do what you can to try to jam any outside communications." And he's going to try to get an angle so that he. Now, did the stormtrooper actually grab one of the two of them and drag them along?
No, he didn't actually move yet. That's kind of his intent, I guess. You know, so if you imagine,
okay.
You fired, and then like time slows down and we go into like initiative.
Okay.
I think you could probably see him like going to grab somebody, like as the gun comes back to Cassian's hand.
Yeah, so he brings the blaster rifle back up, and that's when he squeezes off the next shot at the stormtrooper.
So same again, 2 purple.
2 purple.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. I get 4 successes or whatever the heck they're called in my initiative, but I can't nail it.
Okay, so very similar.
Well,
roll.
the triumph is a critical hit, though. If you're rolling to attack, a triumph is a critical hit, is it not?
But you have to get a success to hit, right?
Oh, but you do. Oh, okay.
So like the thing is, like you don't succeed unless you get a net success. You know. Unfortunately, so this is like another, I guess, like environmental or like situational advantage, like big advantage, but not a hit.
So again, it's probably one of these. This shot as the stormtrooper's going to grab Shell. He sees probably just at the last moment he sees Kishel leveling a shot at him, and just as the blaster goes off, he falls back from grabbing him, and I don't know to what extent. Maybe he loses his balance and falls back.
Yeah, I think it's also okay to say like with this roll that you like managed to shoot the weapon from his hand, or like you connect with the weapon and like is broken. It's
like he had a truncheon, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it strikes that.
Yeah, it goes and spins away. Okay. You can hear the of people running somewhere in the facility, but they're not here yet. The sergeant is going to, I guess he's going to pull the weapon from his side that he had holstered, and then he's going to try and shoot one of the 2 people right in front of him. So that's going to either be Cassian or Shell. So I'm just going to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's Cass. So he pulls up his blaster and is going to try and fire it. So it was modified to basically have 1 shot left, is what we ended up with. So he's going to try and do that. So it's going to be 1, 2, and 1, and then 2. Oh my god. Okay. It's a big hit.
Yeah, it is a big hit.
Oh boy. Okay, so it's a blaster rifle, so it's going to be 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. But to threaten, I think because it's already been modified to like overheat, that it explodes in a way that's pretty unpleasant for him. So I'm going to say he takes like 4 unsoaked damage. So he just pulls this thing and it goes and like fires with insane force, like knocking him back, and then immediately afterwards explodes in his hands. He like screams in pain, but it's going to connect with Cass. And then it's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm hurt a lot, but I'm still going to shoot him dead. So it's what, 2 purple?
2 purple, yep.
All right.
Ooh, ouch. Good shot.
Yep. And with a, give me a second here. 7. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So it'd be 10 points of damage.
Okay. Does your weapon have any pierce?
No, just
Okay.
stun. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not stunning anyone.
Yeah, so you can see like it blasts through some of the laminate plate and definitely connects and burns pretty badly. He's still standing, but barely.
And I guess I'll use move to get into cover.
Sure. Yep. No problem. Okay. More people are moving around. The 2 soldiers have moved into cover, and they're going to get up. One of them's going to point his blaster pistol at you, Shell, and try and shoot. So he's got one. And he just barely connects. You'll take 6 from that. And then sorry, that's both of them together. They're like a minion and fire together. Okay, Kitra.
Okay, as important as it is to turn off communications, I don't want to die, and I don't want my team members to die. So I think the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the security on the doors, and I'm going to basically shut and lock all the doors so no other stormtroopers or anything can come in.
Okay.
And I have 2 ranks to bypass physical security, so I automatically remove 2 setback for that.
Yep, that's cool. I was going to give you a setback for the fact that people are literally shooting each other in the room, but I'll say you're good. So it'll be, what was it last time? 2 reds and a purple?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, boy. Okay. So you do it. The door is like lock. But I think this despair is going to be that the stormtrooper captain can see, like maybe there's like a from the computer system as you're like fucking with it, and he like looks in your direction. And I'm going to say beyond that, like you've locked the doors in a way that's going to be difficult to unlock them. Okay, but they are definitely locked for now, and there will be no more people entering the room, at least. Okay, Shell.
Shell is going to reel from the shot that he's taken, kind of leap back towards where Kitra and Kashal are. He'll like reach in and pull out his like small relatively hidden blaster and try to look at whoever's the most exposed of the stormtroopers and hopefully shoot them.
Yeah, there's just the one stormtrooper in the room. The other 2 are just like Imperial soldiers who like you wouldn't even think of them as army men. They're just like dudes who like live in the town and work here.
Yeah, I think he'll see the stormtrooper that's like he's like the weapon in his hand explodes, so that like maybe part of his armor is even like broken from that, and he'll try to point the blaster at that part and see if he can get this guy.
Yep. So just 2 purples.
And I'll go ahead and I'm going to take, I think it's 2 strain to use an extra maneuver to aim.
Yep. You get 1 free maneuver to aim, but you can.
But
aim.
I moved back towards.
You moved. Okay. Yeah.
Kitra
sure.
and Kishal.
Yep. All right.
Boom.
Nice.
Very nice. What is the damage of your weapon?
5.
Okay, so it's going to do 7. So he'll take 2. That's going to kill him. So like you shoot like right in where the gap in the armor is, where he had been shot previously, and like you see with like maybe like both horror and grim satisfaction as like goes right in, and then like there's a dull thud as it hits the other side of the armor. It doesn't quite pierce on the way out, and he just like because it's Star Wars doesn't bleed and like falls to the ground and is dead. The two soldiers look quite worried about this. And then we're back to the top again. Kish.
So if I don't move, I can aim.
Yes, you get a free boost to your shot.
Ah, shit! I would have known that.
And if you want to, you can spend 2 strain to aim twice, so you can get 2 boosts to a shot.
Oh, I should probably do that just because I'm total shit at.
But you can, so if you don't move, you can aim for free, which is a blue dice on top.
Come on, what are the chances on 3 shots in a row that I'm going to miss? He's going to shoot one of these Imperial. Let's see. Oh,
that's a hit. That's a crit.
Look at that. That is actually a crit.
It's a big old crit. Yeah. What's the crit weighting on your weapon?
It is 3 of those winged things.
So you've got another 10%, and then the triumph, which I guess is more than that.
Yeah, I think isn't it certain numbers, certain symbols add points, add to your.
Yep. So each advantage.
So the triumph makes it a crit, and then
Okay, so it's going to be a crit with plus 40%.
So you good old crit
100.
table.
So
You get to roll a D100. Maybe you'll get 120.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. The plus 40, 138. He might actually die.
He might just die. Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to find the crit table. Hang on a second.
Imagine that, Lionel. You rolled 138 on a D100.
I have no idea what is even happening right now.
So
just rolling the dice, you guys.
Okay, so
You're seriously gonna fuck this guy up.
yeah, he's bleeding out. It's a blaster rifle, is it?
Yeah. So
it's
the damage is 9.
9. Okay. Yeah, so he's dead. So from like across the room, I guess there's just this boom, and it like goes like right through his like chest and out the other side, and he like thunks onto the ground, and then it's just like pouring blood, and he like falls down face down. The other soldier who's with him just like screams in terror. They are not prepared for this. They're just like local dudes who like, got a summer job up in the prison, making sure that the prisoners behave themselves. So he's very much dead. That's a brutal shot.
I don't know if Kishel can yell, drop your gun, and that's his turn.
Yeah, definitely. And he does. You can hear like boom, 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 banging on the door, but they are not able to get through. This is the guy drops his gun and like puts his hands over his head. He says, "I want to die, please."
So for right now, we're out of combat.
Yeah, like you can hear that there are stormtroopers like banging on the door the doors that have been locked, but you think because their guns were here, that they're not going to be able to get through that unless they start like throwing grenades around.
All right, I'm going to immediately beeline to this guard. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to say is going to take very little time, because they are almost on their way in.
Oh God! I don't want to die, man.
Okay. Listen to me very carefully. These stormtroopers are here for a reason. That reason is they have some sort of a device here, or droid, or something in here that they are guarding. You're going to take us to that thing so we can take the thing away, and we do not harm you, and then everything goes back to normal. Do you understand?
Yeah. You gotta take me with you if I.
Okay. Chop. Let's go. Talk while walking. Take us there right now. Come on. Come.
I think as Cass is doing this, all of a sudden he'll feel this this pinch and burn as Kishel has walked up behind him. It takes a stem and just jams it into his shoulder, so that he gets 5 hit points back.
Nice. Yeah, this guy like brings you over to the computers, and he's like, in this cell, that's where it is. And you can see there's like looks like a person, like pretty tall, but with like sort of slick black, like jet black skin, and it's just like sitting like a person would sit on a bench. That's the thing they brought in here. It's in cell number 6, but it's through that way. He like points where you can hear boom, 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 boom.
Of course it is. Is there another way?
Yeah. You have to go through
Anything, hidden pathways, maintenance shafts, whatever.
You'd have to go through the
Any other
maintenance. Yeah.
Right. Good. I'm going to rush back, and I'm going to gather all of my things, including my weapon maintenance kit, my backpack. I'm making sure that I'm grabbing all my stuff because I am not losing that. And then I just start like making a beeline running down into the maintenance access shaft. And I'll look at the guard. Well, are you coming?
Can I pull up the schematics?
Yeah. Yep. So you'll see that there is. I actually think I have it here. So you're in the processing area at the moment, which is like right in the center. You're gonna have to like go. If you imagine there's like vents and stuff, you have to like go all the way around and come in through like the garbage area, and like then come in through where the prisoner cells are. The stormtroopers like run all the way around, and they're on the door like opposite the processing area, like in the guard station.
Okay. So I will stay here at this terminal. I can walk using the schematics. I can walk you through to get where you need to go, and I can continue to do what I need to do from here.
Don't forget the money. The money. Don't forget the money. And I'll take off.
Okay, so you can start moving with this terrified guard, and then like you're basically going to be crawling through vents and things like that. So it'll be tough going. You can, I guess, you'll crawl like pretty close to where the stormtroopers are, and you can hear them like, "Sir, what are we going to open the door? Grenades!" Like trying to figure out how the hell they're going to try and open this door. And eventually, like you'll come down and out at the very end of the prisoner cell block. You'll see it's like this perfectly straight corridor, and there are like cells every couple of feet. And he's like, "It's cell number 6.
Okay. Do you know if there's any guards who are going to be patrolling that area?
Well, usually, yeah, but I think they're probably trying to kill you.
That's a good point. But you should us, because you're in it now. It's okay. Come on.
Yeah, us.
So I'm going to kind of peek my head down the little corridor, see if there's any guards.
Yeah, so you can, if you like look straight ahead, you'll see that like there are some stairs that lead a little bit up into a guard room, like a sort of like all the prisoners have to go through this way, so they can hang out there, and you can see some of the stormtroopers like with the butts of their rifles like boom against the door, trying to figure out how to open it.
Can I attempt to open all the cell doors?
Yep.
All right. Any difficulty and so forth there?
Same as last one. Did you succeed before? Yeah, so you're in already, so I don't think so now the fact that you're in means that like you can basically scroll through the menu. So if you want to open the cell doors, you can do so.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just go to the cell doors and just open them all.
All these cell doors open, and there's like a brief moment of like, huh? And then you see like people running out of the cells. Most of them just seem to be like local drunkards or like troublemakers, like no one super important. And they like run out and they're like, what? Huh? And then they like run in the direction of the stormtroopers for a second, and then they're like, oh shit, and like they turn around and go the other way. You can see that like as all this happens, there's like one Zabrak woman who like walks, like pokes her head out, like and looks in the other direction, like towards you, and like sees you, and then like gets back in the cell, and just like remains there because she doesn't think that this is worth doing. Of the thing in cell 6, there's no sign. The chaos is such that you can hear stormtroopers now at the top of the corridor going like, prisoners are loose, like shouting.
We have a distraction, and I'm gonna quickly zip through, go right into cell 6, and Have a look at this droid. See if we can get it going.
So it looks up, and it's like not a droid you've seen before. It moves like in a way that other droids don't, in that it like looks and moves sort of like a person, in a very natural and like uncannily smooth way. It's nearly 7 feet tall, and it's got this like jet black sort of like almost skin. You don't see anything obviously like servo like about it. You know, it could if it had skin color, it would look like a person, except for the face. There are like all these like slim, nearly invisible lines that separate various panels on its body, and it has this weirdly skeletal face. And it says, "Oh, apologies, I don't have my face on. That is humor. It's my understanding that levity often puts your kind at ease."
You know what? So here's the thing. We don't have a lot of time. So if you'd like to just come with us, and we are going to take you back to our ship, and we are going to try and rescue you and bring you back to a friend who can help you.
You are here to rescue me. You are not my new captors.
No. But we're here to assist you. And we are going to take you to a friend who needs to check you out and do some things. And yeah, so
And
we're
I will
going
have
to
my
go.
freedom.
And then you will have your freedom. I imagine so. You look like the type of individual that could easily crush the windpipe of everything here. So yes, definitely your freedom.
I think Kishal grabs Cass and says, "No time for this. Yes, you're gonna be free. Let's go."
Excellent. I have been awaiting my freedom. It says, and like stands and begins to like move with you.
As please follow us. And I'm just kind of like running back. And as I'm running, I kind of like yelling back. So what is your designation?
P or 1-M3.
Oh, and what is it you do?
A lot of things, it says, and it actually smiles in this like very bizarre and like unsettling way. I'm a multifunctional droid, especially
Right,
adept at dealing with other organics.
Ah,
My demeanor
You
is
are-
meant to be comforting.
huh. They really fucked up that one. All right, let's go. And, just keep on running.
The Zabrak woman sees that you are leaving and pops her head out and decides to follow. She's like coming with you.
I mean... Okay.
The other side, you can hear like there's fighting, and you can now hear like the sort of thunk of like armored fists on unarmored faces as stormtroopers are like now dealing with the prisoners who have escaped.
Oh, God.
And so you can get back into the this bit above. The droid weirdly can fit in there. It should be too big, but it like is able to like it seems to like shrink its size. And then is able to like move pretty smoothly, more smoothly than any of you, through this space. And then out the other side, it like lands, like so lightly that it barely makes a noise on the other side.
All right. Great. We're all together. Shall we go back to the ship and get the hell off this planet?
I think that'd be good. Yes, let's go.
Great.
So can you open only the right door?
Yeah, so Keitra would make sure, she goes in and opens doors, just for them.
Yep. So you can go back outside and you'll see that there are people at the base of the ship. They're not stormtroopers. They're not Imperials. They're like standing there and like they don't have guns pointed at you, but they are armed. As you like run, I guess, at maximum speed from the facility over to your ship, which is like maybe 150, 200 feet away or whatever. And they're like standing there, and they sort of do like this sort of shrug, like this droid is coming with us.
You're muted, Mike.
Why don't we discuss this after we get onto our ship, and we'll communicate with you, and we'll have a great talk about it, and we gotta go. Let's go.
Prime,
I'm
you
gonna.
wish to be free? And the droid says, that is my ultimate wish, yes. These people will not let you go free. They're going to sell you. I am not to be sold. I'm aware of who I am. You're not going to sell me.
No, we're gonna take you to a friend, and then you'll be free.
You have an elevated heart rate. I believe you are lying.
I've also just been running. So, there's that.
Flimsy biology.
How many of these people are there?
It's 3.
And they're near the ship?
Yeah, they're like at the ramp of the ship, basically. This
So
droid,
basically, they're too close to the ship so that if I dropped a grenade,
you could potentially damage the ship, yeah.
yeah.
Bad move, yeah.
One of them says, this droid is singular, unique, and he cannot be sold for parts. He should be free. That's what we do. It's the right thing.
We don't intend to sell him.
And what do you intend to do?
Give him to a friend, as my friend just said.
And then he will sell him.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you're gonna do.
Well, we free droids. We don't wipe their memories. We allow them to become who they're supposed to be.
So do we.
I don't think that's true.
See, words are easy to say. I can say words just as you can say words. That doesn't make any of us any more truthful or otherwise.
Well, I suppose that's true. But that's not what you do. And it is what we do.
I think Kashal says, well, either we're giving the droid to these 3, or we're gonna start shooting. But I'm not gonna keep standing here.
Look, we don't want to hurt anybody, but this droid is really essential to the liberation of droids all over the galaxy, and a movement that should recognize the sentience of droids and the sapience of droids, and that they don't deserve to be treated the way that they're treated. And the droid sort of like shrugs. I do think that.
Really, really, really quick, out of character, do they offer us credits?
Not yet.
Are they wearing any insignias or anything?
Our friend
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. Is
Zoom.
is pretty well connected. So betraying him is
A bad idea.
bad. Yes.
No, and I get that.
We'll make a lot of not good enemies by
Yeah.
doing that.
I mean, it seems to you that these guys are, like, you've heard of these guys ish. Like, there is a movement in the galaxy that believes in droid rights and, like, sort of that a droid is a sapient thing and has its own feelings and understandings and things like that. Most people think it's nonsense because a droid is an object as far as most people are concerned. But there is a thing that happens if you don't wipe a droid's memory for a long time, then it does start to develop quirks and a personality and things like that. So it's unclear as to like what the actual facts are. But these people seem to fight for droid rights.
I mean, if we do not continue with our mission, you understand that we are signing our own death sentences.
You can come work for us.
and then have a bounty placed upon our heads.
Yeah, that's really a you problem. This droid is unique and essential to our efforts. We can't let you take him. We don't want to hurt anybody. And we know that you don't know what's happening here. You don't understand what this droid is, but it's a big deal.
Well, we don't have a time to have a conversation about it right now. So either we meet up sometime later when we're not in a place where stormtroopers are going to come shoot us, or we leave now, regardless of what that means.
Right, if you get on the ship, we're never seeing you again.
Something tells me you're never going to see us again one way or another.
What do you want to do, Prime? And the droid sort of... I want to be free, ideally. And I don't want to be given to anybody.
What was the name? Was it? What was the name of the asteroid we were on?
Skip one.
Skip one. I think Kishal looks at the droid and says, "Listen, I meant when I said you were free. Our job is to get you to skip one. And when I sign on to do a job, I see it through. What happens when you're there, that's none of my affair. But we don't even know who these guys are. Who are the ones that got you out? Was it these guys? It was us."
That's true. I don't know either of you. Any of you. And you saved me. If I go with you, and you bring me to this skip one, you won't impede my escape?
No, of course not.
Nope.
And of course, I assume that it would be very easy for you to do so.
I have my gifts.
You have a very unnerving smile. Shall we go?
All right.
There we go. Look, a sapient droid has made their own decision. I imagine you wouldn't be trying to impede on that decision as I'm talking to the other three.
Yeah, they look pretty
Would you?
embarrassed about it and annoyed because they're in a sort of like moral like lock where they can't now say like he's made the wrong decision because he's made the decision.
Oh god, it's Harry Mudd all over again.
And besides, now you know where we're going to be and where he's going to be. So if you want to pick him up, you know where to find him.
Precisely. Let's go.
All right. So you get on
So-
so you go.
So two things. One is I'd like to make a roll to see if I can put the siphon script in there.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we'll just call that the same as the usual. So 2 reds and a purple.
Okay.
Okay.
Success and a threat.
So I'll say it's success, but maybe there's some tracking. You don't quite remove the necessary steps, and you end up with like maybe they end up with a way to find you, like a difficult way, but still not as clean as you'd like.
Okay. And then I don't know if you want me to make a roll on. Basically, what I want to do is once we get on the ship, I want to basically put whatever, I guess, transmit from our ship to the facility that this was an attack by whatever organization these droid PETA people are, you know. That this was all they're doing. Like this was their attack. This was their organization that like raided this facility to free this droid and all that good stuff.
Okay, yeah, I think you can do that without needing a roll. You can like send out like a sort of, you know, this was sanctioned by the Droid Liberation Front.
Yep, and I actually want to go in and use the facility footage, and I'll enhance like their faces of these three individuals. And
Okay. Yeah, so you're doing all this as you like work your way onto the ship. The droid, like as it steps onto the ramp, you see how heavy it is. It doesn't look so heavy, but there's like a as it like walks on top onto the ship. Yeah, it like steps into the ship and like looks around and like finds a seat and like sits down in it like a person who's learning how to sit. So like it moves very like a person, but it's like it's never sat down in a chair before, and so it like very sort of slowly like figures out how to do that, and then like sits and then seems pretty pleased with itself when it does so. And you can take off and into the atmosphere and then away to skip 1. So I think we'll probably leave it there, gents, and then we'll see what happens in skip 1 with this terrifying droid next time. So thank you for watching if you did, and we'll see you then.